Okay, everybody. I'm back home. I had to go to my sister's to do a few things. So I'll wait a few minutes before we get started. Carol! Hey, Chico. No, I had to go to my sister's. I had to do a few things. Oh, yeah, I was. I was going to stay out longer. And, I wrote on my post this morning that I'm gonna try to get all the intel done by 7 o'clock because baseball's coming, and I don't really want to go in the evening doing stuff. So I'm gonna try to go along, from now because there's so much intel is out, unbelievable stuff that's coming out. I got a video of 47 minutes. Did you hear Melania speak today, Carol? So that's a good video to play. And I got Mel came out last night with a 22-minute. Did we play Billy Bean last night? Billy Bean came out on a 9-minute video. I can't remember if we played that one or not. Like I said, I got a lot of stuff to cover. Tomorrow, okay, we'll play her. It's a short one. I can't believe the Congress went on recess already, and they don't even pass that open the government. Yep, they sure do. Okay, hopefully we'll get more people in chat. So we left off with Trisha's video. We're gonna redo Trish's video first. All right, we'll go ahead and get started. A lot to cover. Hopefully, I don't have to can't stop the show. Hopefully, I get everything done for today. Gonna rain and thunderstorms tomorrow. Hopefully, I don't lose power tomorrow. Okay, here we go. Okay, 22 minutes.
That the hubby, Tim, is not cooperating with officials. And one of the big questions they have is just exactly where $1.7 million. Yeah, 1.7, nearly $2 million went when apparently it went into his company, which has gone by a variety of different names. One was E Street Crew, which I got a kick out of, right? Easy Street. Hey, we're living on Easy Street. We got Ilhan in our back pocket. We got Feeding Our Future. These are allegations in our back pocket. Of course, all of this really pointing to some troubling signs for one Ilhan Omar, her local paper now in on the action, saying that, she's in trouble here because the GOP is saying, haha, you got to actually come forward with some of these documentations, and we're moving forward on this ethics probe. So there's the ethics investigation that Comer initiated into her, and now there's concern about $1.7 million that may have gone into the hubby's company. That's a lovely picture of him there. And if the hubby's not complying and working with the ethics committee on this, then what does that mean? I do recall one Matt Gaetz, congressman from Florida, who wasn't cooperating with the ethics committee. And what did he do? He resigned. He resigned rather than have to basically go through what he would have been going through there with the ethics committee. And so the next question becomes, might Ilhan Omar resign because she's not willing to go through the ethics committee's investigation? All that said, it doesn't change the fact that if indeed her husband did what is alleged he may have done, and if she had any participation in this alleged money laundering scheme, then see ya, right? Not to mention, on top of it all, you've got Emmer out there in Minnesota, you got Marsha Blackburn in Tennessee, Senate and House, talking about how they can ensure that people who have defrauded the U.S. government are indeed sent packing. So you would, one, go to jail, and two, you'd be sent packing with your naturalization process lost. So Timmy Minette is under fire here. The Minneapolis Times reporting today that a key congressional watchdog committee, that would be, of course, the Ethics Committee, is not getting what they need from Mr. Timmy Minette. In fact, they're curious about all of this vast increase in the Minettes. Can we say Mr. and Mrs. Minette? The Mr. and Mrs. Minette's wealth that happened shortly after he married Ilhan. And they introduced in 2020 that Feeding Our Future program that defrauded the American taxpayer out of $250 million. We just reported yesterday on the 5 new ones that pled guilty. So what, we had 79 a couple of weeks ago, 5 more. I mean, the number keeps growing, and they're all somehow, majority anyway, from her district, including people that worked on her campaign. Imagine that. He worked on the campaign, right? Minette ran her campaign for a pretty penny too. Nearly $3 million she paid him. Anyway, the Minneapolis Times, as well as another Minnesota publication, are now coming out and saying, hey, you know what? She has not complied with the request. And so Republicans are now saying, you got to do this, right? Like, this is the Ethics Committee. We're not messing around. Hey, you're welcome to resign and not reply to our request. But so long as you want to stay a member of Congress, you have to play ball in this. So again, the GOP is kind of putting the pressure on, as I told you they would. And by the way, they have to, because these are simple questions. You know, when they come to you and they say, how did this money get made? You need to be able to answer those questions. And this has been elevated enough that she's got to actually follow through. Timmy Minette cannot bury his head in the sand and say, I'm not going to give you anything. That's not going to fly. Comer has made this point over and over again. In fact, I was just playing this for you recently, and we were just talking about, yeah, she's got to be able to come forward with this information. And now today we learn she's not. Think about that. I mean, hey, Mac Gaetz, he had to resign. So Ilhan, you may have to too, right? What's fair is fair. Not to mention, you may be looking at a jail penalty when it's all said and done. Comer.
I am Captain Jonah Veritek. If you are seeing this message, remember, do not respond to any distress signal from...
Again, I'm not accusing them of any wrongdoing, but she should answer a simple question. If any member of Congress is asked what business their family's involved in, I've never seen one fail to answer it. That's not a hard question. My husband has a private equity firm, and he's done exceptionally well in the last 12 months. She won't answer that question. And everybody in America suspects foul play here.
Right.
And again, we're going to find out. It's not going to be hard to figure out what business he's in and where the money came from. So that's going to be a central part of our entire Minnesota fraud investigation, because she is the leader in Congress, in the district, in the congressional district where the overwhelming majority of the welfare fraud is taking place. Her name, as well as the Attorney General Keith Ellison's name, have been mentioned as people of interest. I'll put it like that, Jesse. So we're gonna follow through on this, and I think she's gonna have some difficult questions to answer.
All right. Well,
Our thanks to Fox for that clip and Jesse Waters' show. So again, Minneapolis Times coming out and saying, no, as of yesterday afternoon, actually, forgive me, as of this morning, Timmy Minette hasn't turned over any of the documentation. Wow. And by the way, there's belief out there that he was doing some really fraudulent stuff. Let's go to a local news report out of Minneapolis on Timmy Minette and Ilhan Omar's growing problems. Let's watch.
Accusations of fraud against a business partly owned by Representative Omar's husband.
Her husband is Tim Minette, and his consulting firm legally got about $3 million from her 2020 campaign. Now he's a business partner in a few business ventures that are involved in lawsuits claiming his companies have made money disappear. In the case of Tim Minette, whose LinkedIn page shows he was a partner in the E Street Group along with Will Haler, there's no publicly known criminal investigation, but there may be something behind the scenes.
We have connected with federal law enforcement on this. I believe that they're looking into it as we speak.
Ned Horsted is the CEO of a South Dakota cannabis company that gave Haler and Minette's company $3.5 million to kickstart investments, but ended up with about $1.8 million back and a court judgment, an IOU for the other $1.7 million. Omar's office tells me she has no involvement in any business ventures, and the situation reeks of political desperation.
If you have a two-person business and one of them is a spouse of a member of Congress, it seems suspicious, to say the least, that they never knew about $3.5 million that came into the bank account. They never knew that 1.7 went missing.
The lawyers for Minette and Haler say they absolutely did not intend to defraud anyone in that cannabis business or in a winery deal that's also the subject of a civil lawsuit.
No, or they didn't intend to get caught, I guess. No, they said, look, we didn't do anything wrong. That's their story, and they're sticking to it. But, you had a lot of people come forward with these fraud accusations, and eventually, I guess, everything got settled out in the courts. The problem now is Ilhan is not telling us why or how or when her husband made any money. She's not allowing for him. Well, I don't know if it's her. I mean, maybe it's him. I don't know who wears the pants in that family, but I'm just saying the two of them as a couple, Mr. and Mrs. Minette, aren't actually giving forth any of the information that they have to give as a couple, as a member of Congress that she is, regarding this ethics violation. And this is a concern because do not forget the $250 million scam feeding our future, of which we have seen numerous arrests now and numerous people going to jail. A whole bunch of them were somehow cozy with her. A number of them had actually donated her campaign, and one of them had actually worked on her campaign. So you understand why this is so critical that we get to the bottom of it.
Well, now investigators are tracking the web of fraud to other Minnesota Democrats, such as Congresswoman Ilhan Omar. Many of the suspects linked to the scheme live in her district, including a restaurant owner who hosted events for her. He has since been convicted of stealing $12 million in COVID funds.
Okay. And she's going to sit there and say, gee, we don't need to actually turn over any of the documentation that the ethics committee is requiring us to submit. Again, I just look at her and say, Ilhan, you can resign and then go to jail and then be deported, maybe in that order. Because if you're guilty of this stuff, that's exactly what's going to happen. And don't forget, Matt Gaetz wanted to save himself from the controversy. So he didn't actually go forward with all of this investigation. They are asking for this documentation and they deserve it. But by the way, you know what, Ilhan, honey, you don't want to give it to us. Guess what? We're still going to find it because we got Treasury, we got the IRS. Oh, and we have J.D. Vance and his entire fraud team at the White House investigating you. And they are already looking all over the world for this money because we know $700 million left the city of Minneapolis in a 2-year time period. That would make Minneapolis the number one airport in the country where money's fleeing in suitcases. They actually declared it with the TSA. So just imagine how much they didn't declare. And Ilhan, people want to know whether your husband had anything to do with that because apparently he was doing business all over the world. He was quite proud of it, in fact. Yeah. So the latest and greatest headline on the New York Post is that Ilhan Omar's probe is going global with demand for info on hubby's business dealings in Kenya, in Dubai, Somalia. Well, we can add, I believe, South Africa to that as well. The business partner, he's not doing him any favors either. There were some solar panels, was it, in South Africa? And yet again, she doesn't want to admit anything. Here's the problem, okay? The elephant in the room. The year before, E Street Crew, Easy Street, Easy Street. It's a song from Annie. You've heard me sing it before if you're a regular on this show. Annie was like my big thing when I was 10. Anyway, I know all the way. That's how it was my first introduction to economics and FDR, Annie. In 2023, when she first put forward her disclosure form, it was filed in 2024. She showed modest outside income and assets and credit card and student loan debt worth between $45,000 and $150,000. The disclosure form also listed Minette as having an interest in E Street Crew, a winery in California that was worth between $200 and $1,000. $200, not $200,000, $200 and $1,000. Okay, so that's 2023. Remember, 2020 was the big hit with the feeding our future. And then all of a sudden, this interest in Rose Lake Capital
10 minutes
becomes 25 million bucks. I mean, I just don't get it, right? He was valuing it between 15,000 and 50,000. And then a year later, it rises all the way to 25 million, with the winery being worth $5 million. I mean, guys, it just does not make any sense. And I know I keep harping on this, but I'm going to continue harping on this because, look, I'm a financial reporter by background. I've won awards for my terrorist financing investigations that I have done. And this money can be tracked, and it will be tracked. And it's not insanely easy because Treasury has to do a lot, given that she could have used the Hawala system, which is like person to person, if she is actually guilty of some of these allegations. And so they're going to have to figure all of that out. But we've got some smart people on the case, and I think that they will. What I can tell you is that what he was saying about his business makes literally no sense at all. This Rose Lake Capital, which he claims has $80 million under $60 million, forgive me, in assets under management, or had at one point. He and his buddy here, this guy who is another Democrat sort of bigwig, I guess, out in Minnesota, however bigwig you can be out in Minnesota, right? This guy, Will Haler, was also kind of a problem and is continuing to be a problem for Mr. and Mrs. Minette, because you see, Will Haler is on record saying that the business, the venture capital firm, Rose Lake, that I just showed you, wasn't worth anything. You know, he apparently in sworn testimony was asked about its valuation right around the same time that she was saying, oh, it's worth $25 million. And he's saying, you know, it really didn't have assets worth $1 million. And then he was asked again whether it was less than $500,000. And the quote is that he couldn't tell you. Don't you think you'd know the difference between your business being worth $500,000 and $25 million? So something is really suspicious. And when you try and ask her about it, you know, where does she go? What is her go-to move? When you try and ask Ilhan Omar about this, her go-to move over and over again is to just, you know, scorn you and pretend like you're the idiot. She did this with a reporter. I want to show you this because it just smacks of her arrogance. And it's frankly pretty darn disgusting. Here she is with a reporter. I think this is from Michael Lindell's network, who's just asking her some decent questions. Here we go.
Just talking about how Trump's economy has failed the American people, but I think the American people really want to know how you went from a negative 65,000 before coming into Congress to over $30 million in just 7 years.
My disclosure is public now.
Yeah, it is. And so a lot of people now are looking into that and finding S. Crew Winery, a winery that doesn't actually seem to exist. Is that a real winery, or?
Do you all actually look at and read things, or do you just ask silly questions?
Well, it's listed in the financial disclosure. So can you explain it? Because we have a lot of questions about it and things just aren't adding up. There's no real phone number. There's no real location.
Why did you want to buy some wine?
Probably not from you, to be honest. Recently stated that the American people should be afraid of the white man. They should be fearful of the white man.
I never said that.
Yeah, you're on video saying it.
Our country should be more fearful of white man across.
Okay, so what does that tell you? She lies. She's willing to lie through her teeth whenever she wants to lie. Her husband hasn't paid her taxes, $403,000. He's multiple times been accused of fraud. They're paying him up the wazoo, nearly $3 million to run her campaign? Unheard of money. That in and of itself is an ethics violation, but it's gotten so much worse. Let's go back to the reporters.
Our country, because they are actually causing most of the deaths within this country. Oh, I did not.
Yes, you.
Again, this is like what I said. You need to prepare yourself because you can't continue embarrassing yourself like this.
So I'm just a liar.
So, when I don't get it. If it would happen to us, if we lie, we'd be in jail already. How much longer is she going to get away with lying? You know, it seems like if they got everything, we don't see handcuffs on her.
was quoting was an actual study done by the FBI.
Okay, thank you.
Unbelievable.
Thank you, Congresswoman.
Unbelievable. I love this girl, by the way. I just love what she's been doing. Oh, and it gets better because that was her first interaction with Ilhan Omar. And then she decided, okay, I'll go back for more, glutton for punishment. And she caught up with her the next day after Ilhan accused her of not being very smart, of course. And she said, okay, I went and did some reading. And it turns out, yeah, you're out there saying your business is worth 25 million. Or you and your hubby's business is worth 25 million. The winery was worth $5 million. It just doesn't add up.
Yesterday, you told me to please read when I asked you about the $9 billion fraud that you denied is happening, but I have it right here. I read. Look, Chairman Comer opens hearing on massive fraud scandal, $9 billion.
That's what Comer believes because he's as smart as you are.
It's not just Comer. It's Scott Besson. It's federal prosecutors. It's House Oversight. And
no
it's Minnesota State Reps.
You can have that, ma'am. I think you need to get examined because your brain has been fried in some way, and it's not okay.
God.
I really hope you get some help. You and the Republicans here. Take care, okay, ma'am?
I'm sorry, I couldn't go to the learning centers that you're running over in Minnesota, but I think you should perhaps read what's actually
one of those learning centers.
I need one of those learning centers.
Woo! Good one. All right. Timmy, you got to turn over the documentation. This is getting serious. I realize the IRS is doing its thing. I realize Treasury is doing its thing because, you know, they have to figure out if any money actually went back to any sponsors of terrorism, because that's another allegation that you guys are facing. You are facing all kinds of allegations right now, and it's increasingly a problem for you. So Timmy has this business. It's very, very sus. He's not telling anybody where any of this money came from, and that's going to come back to haunt her big time. Again, as of this morning, a spokesperson from the committee says Mr. Minette has not actually come forward with anything. Nothing about this Rose Lake Capital. But we do know, as we have discussed, that apparently they were trying to make some kind of venture, some kind of investment in solar panels in South Africa. Okay, we've talked about that, right? The solar panels in South Africa. We know that the government's looking into dealings in Somalia, dealings in South Africa, dealings in Kenya, dealings in Dubai. This is really getting problematic for her. No wonder he doesn't want to turn over any of the documentation. And it kind of makes me think, no wonder Ilhan Omar was so upset when we got rid of USAID, where all kinds of money was going to all kinds of weird places, right? Maybe she had her hand in the cookie jar.
I am exceptionally upset about USAID. I lived in a refugee camp for 4 years as a child surviving civil war. It is the essential programs that USAID provided that kept my family and I fed and safe. It is the resources that so many people around the world rely on. And it is our soft power. Oftentimes, people interact with our country through the military. That does not create love for us, and it certainly does not keep us safe.
20-minute one here.
When the world interacts with Americans through programs.
Okay, we want to do it, you know, we grease the wheels, right? Maybe that's the idea. You get those solar panels in South Africa that you two were working so hard on putting in. And if anybody challenges you on it, if anybody in the GOP establishment or any reporter challenges you on it, I understand, Ilhan. You just go back to they're all so darn stupid. I can't bother with any of them. Kind of your same attitude that you just had with that Mike Lindell reporter, right? Where you're like, hey, honey, go do some reading. I mean, she can do reading like any one of us. We've all seen your documentation, Ilhan. So don't sit there and try and tell us we're the stupid ones. No, we know what's up. So I'm kind of sick of this reaction. Let's go to her.
These people are just idiots. I really, I'm at the point
where it's become really hard to have an intellectual debate with any of these people because the level of stupidity that they are displaying every single day is frankly embarrassing, not just in Congress, but as Americans. And the fact that these people are allowed to say just the most ridiculous things tells you that the dumbing of the United States has arrived, because how else do we get a Trump presidency again?
Thank you.
I see. Well, tough luck for you, because Trump's got a lot of really smart people working for him, and I think they're onto you. I mean, these allegations are pretty significant. You can't walk away from them. You can't just tell your husband not to submit the paperwork, because they'll find the paperwork. Oh, they'll find it all right. And you guys are going to be in a whole lot of trouble. Big time, big time, big time. Oh, you know who else?
So, how much longer is she going to be able to walk free? The next two clips is part of the press secretary. I don't know if anybody saw the clip. I didn't. Oh, shoot. We better come back to those ones. I want to get some short ones in. We got Kennedy on CNN, you guys. Seven minutes.
Is this deal falling up right now, or is there still some hope?
Well, here's the way I see it, Wolf. I try to look at the world as it is, not as I want it to be. Solving this problem through reconciliation, it's clear to me, is going to be very, very difficult. I got up this morning about 5 o'clock. I can read. I can watch TV. I watch the news. Number one, the reason I said it's going to be very hard. Number one, the president is against it. I was told, I haven't been in meetings with the president. I was told that he was for it. One senator told me he was even enthusiastic. That's not accurate. He's not for it. Number two, our majority leader is everything. Whoever the majority leader is controls the floor. And based on the comments I've read this morning, our majority leader is not really for it. Number three, my Republican colleagues who are leading the talking filibuster clearly want to continue the talking filibuster, as is their right. Number four, Senator Schumer has changed his mind. Chuck probably has another side to this story, but the whole opening everything up on reconciliation is premised on the suggestion by Democrats that they would open everything up, including TSA, but ICE, and we would have to deal with ICE on our own. Senator Schumer has changed that position. He no longer will open up the rest of the department unless we agree to what he wants to do on ICE. So we're back to square one.
I want to play a senator.
That's honestly the way I see it. I wish I didn't have to say that, but that's where we are.
Yeah, it's not a good situation. I want to play a little bit of what some of your fellow lawmakers on both sides of the aisle have been telling CNN about the framework deal. Listen to this. Listen.
Completely fund the entire department. That is the responsible way to do this thing. So we've been very resistant to any idea to break it apart.
They did nothing to address the reforms of ICE. And that's what we want. And so until they do that, it's not a serious offer.
As long as Donald Trump is holding America hostage to pass a measure that would, in effect, purge voter rolls and suppress voters, there'll be no deal.
No, that's crazy. You got a real small of government.
Are you definitely a no on that proposal?
Yeah.
So what's your response? What do you think? Elaborate a little bit.
Well, I think that's honestly how my Democratic colleagues feel. And it matters, first, because I respect their opinion. I don't agree with it, but I respect it. But number two, using reconciliation to solve this problem is premised on the Democrats agreeing to open up every part of DHS, including the TSA, and letting us deal, us meaning Republicans, deal with the ICE under reconciliation. I thought that was the deal. I know that was the deal. And if the Democrats have changed their position, then what's the point? Number two, I'm going to repeat it. It's clear to me the president is against this. I heard his comments this morning, big as Dallas. I was told that he was cool with it, but I don't think he is. And number two, the folks who started the talking filibuster want to continue. That's their prerogative. And number three, I don't think the majority leader is real keen on the idea either. Look, I'm labor, not management, and I'm going to work toward trying to put together a budget resolution. But you know, you're not talking to Bambi's baby brother here. I know my colleagues pretty well.
You certainly do. If Congress can't even seem to do the most basic part of its job, namely funding the federal government, are you at all optimistic you can pass any of President Trump's agenda while he's still in office?
Well, here's all I know to do right now. And it may not work, though it could work if everybody's in good faith. Number one, they won't like it, but we take our Democratic colleagues out of the process. We put together the entire Department of Homeland Security budget, and only that budget, through reconciliation with Republican votes. That's ICE, that's TSA, that's Secret Service, that's Coast Guard, that's everything. Number two, we allow the proponents of the talking filibuster on the SAVE Act to continue to pursue that approach. Now, that's not going to make the Democrats happy, but then under reconciliation, we don't need their votes, and it's not going to solve the SAVE Act problem. But that's all I know to do. The only other option, realistically, is to have the Republicans give in and agree to the Democratic suggested changes on ICE, and I don't think that's going to happen in your or my natural lifetime. And the third option is obviously to leave everything shut down, and that's not acceptable. That's not fair to TSA, and more importantly, the American people.
Yeah, because they're suffering right now. You tried, I know, Senator, to pass a resolution over the weekend that would withhold senators' pay during, but it was blocked. If you, as members of Congress, didn't get your paychecks, like TSA workers, for example, would we ever see shutdowns?
There are two ways to stop shutdowns in the Senate, fail-proof. Number one, no senator gets paid. But equally important, no senator can leave Washington, D.C. Now, I can't get the votes to do the second one. I thought I could get the votes to do the first part of that, no pay, because my bill went through the Rules Committee with every Democrat and every Republican, but there was a Democratic objection on the floor. I've stopped taking my pay. I'm not trying to be a hero. You know, I don't judge anybody who does take it, but this situation we're in is serious as 4 heart attacks and a stroke. And you can't expect people like TSA and Secret Service and all the other folks to work without a paycheck. They just can't do it. And I'm going to try to. I believe in shared sacrifice is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, good point. All right, we'll see what happens, and we'll stay very close touch with you, Senator John Kennedy of Louisiana. Appreciate it.
Okay, Kennedy on CNN there. Now, let's hear what Schumer has to say. About 5 minutes on him, I think. Can't believe he's still in Congress.
Pay TSA workers while at the same time rein in ICE with common sense guardrails. Our offer is a reasonable, good faith proposal that contains some of the very same asks Democrats have been talking about now for months. Leader Jeffries and I have spoken about this agenda, and he agrees we need these strong reforms. Now, over the last day, Republicans have made the outrageous and bad faith claim that Democrats are somehow moving the goalpost back in these negotiations. They are saying Democrats changed the ask. They're saying Democrats are backtracking and suddenly introducing new demands at the last minute. This is nonsense. Nonsense. Democrats and the American people have been very clear from the beginning about what we need in order to move forward. We've been talking about ICE reforms from day one. These are not new demands. These are not surprise demands. They are not things we came up with yesterday. They are common sense reforms, reasonable reforms, reforms that police departments across America follow every day. These are reforms the American people overwhelmingly support, and things that Republicans know perfectly well we have been seeking since these negotiations began, since discussions began as well. So for Republicans to now act as Democrats have changed our position as though we've moved the goalpost is poppycock, bad faith. For Republicans to send us a proposal that has no reforms is bad faith as well, and will only slow things down. And they know it's bad faith. In fact, over the weekend, Democrats had constructive conversations in person with our Republican colleagues. The Republican colleagues conceded that some of the reforms, verbally, that we have been looking for, they said, these make sense. We thought there might be a path forward on some of the ways to reform ICE and to get some of the things everybody knows ought to be in federal legislation. We thought there had been some progress. But then Republicans sent us their offer yesterday and contained none of what had been talked about, none of the reforms we had been discussing. So if anyone is slowing down negotiation and hurting TSA workers, it's the Republican leadership who did not include one single reform.
Schumer, blaming it on us.
Republicans, frankly, are struggling to get on the same page among themselves. That's probably why they've been so erratic here. Moderates in the Republican caucus say one thing, conservatives say another. Donald Trump is all over the place, seemingly without a clue of what's going on, and they're still worried about, afraid of what he might say or do. That's what this is all about. So let me say this. We are ready to discuss these issues at a moment's notice with Republicans. We will not walk away. We are not walking away, and we want to get to a solution. We now have given Republicans our response, and it's a serious offer. And time is of the essence, I'd say to my Republican colleagues. The Easter holiday is coming. Families are going on spring break. TSA lines are literally stretching out the door of airports. People are exhausted, and our TSA agents need to be paid. Enough is enough. It's time for Republicans to drill down and work with us to solve this thing. We have asked the Republicans 9 times already to support TSA. We have told Republicans just support TSA while we settle these disputes with ICE, and they have refused 9 times. They say they want their position on ICE met first before they do anything to fund TSA and pay our workers. The way to pay TSA is to vote to send their paychecks now while we settle this dispute regarding ICE. We can and must do both. Negotiate reforms to ICE, but vote to pay our TSA workers now. That is why today, for the 10th time, Democrats will go to the floor so that we can pay TSA immediately as we negotiate ICE. We hope our Republican colleagues will finally see the light and join us. Let me say it again. Enough is enough. It is time for Republicans to drill down and work with us to solve this thing.
President Trump needs more allies in Washington.
Oh, what a idiot. Okay, I got the short clips I'm doing here. She has a few. Four minutes on the first one.
Miscalculation, their senior leadership, their Navy, their Air Force, and their air defense system. Any violence beyond this point will be because the Iranian regime refused to understand they have already been defeated and refused to come to a deal. Here at home, we are now on day 40 of the Democrats' shutdown of the Department of Homeland Security. Democrats in Congress are forcing American travelers to wait in hours-long lines at airports across the country, robbing TSA officers and other federal workers of their hard-earned paychecks that they use to feed their families, and causing billions of dollars in damage to our economy. A father of three recently told CBS News that he felt he had no other choice but to quit his job as a TSA officer and find other work as the Democrats' shutdown of DHS continues. This is the quote from the father, and I encourage everyone to listen. I think the hardest thing is seeing the struggle that my wife was going through and not trying to bring more stress to her, the father of three said, but seeing her cry every night. How am I going to feed my family? How am I going to survive? For the Democrats in Congress, the cruelty of this shutdown is the point. Nearly 500 TSA officers have quit since the Democrat shutdown began. President Trump, to alleviate this pressure, made the decision to send some of our amazing ICE agents to help alleviate that stress and address the long wait times. And for all of the critics of this solution a few days ago when it was proposed by the president, it is yielding results. Wait times have improved since ICE arrived, and they are doing everything in their power to help their fellow federal service members. But it's important to take a step back and remember, why is this even happening in the first place? For nearly 6 weeks, Democrats in Congress have kept DHS shut down because they care more about illegal aliens than American citizens. You have Democrat elected representatives in states across the country who are willing to inflict massive pain on their own constituents to fight for illegal aliens who broke our nation's laws to come here. In recent days, we saw the deadly consequence of this deranged policy of Democrat open borders and an illegal alien first agenda. A beautiful 18-year-old girl, Sheridan Gorman, she was shot and killed in Chicago last Thursday morning while walking in a park with friends. The suspect in custody for murdering her is a Venezuelan illegal alien who was caught and released at the border by the Biden administration in May of 2023. Why would the Biden administration catch and release a Venezuelan illegal alien? That is not happening anymore under this president. But there are still tens of thousands, if not millions, of these illegal aliens in our country who seek to do harm to innocent Americans, like this beautiful young woman whose family will now never be the same because of her death. To make matters even worse, this monster was also released from local custody again after a shoplifting arrest.
Haven't we heard this before about Laken Riley, you guys? Terrible.
Where? In the sanctuary city of Chicago in June of 2023. Again, another innocent American citizen had her life stolen from her because Democrats embrace reckless open border policies and reckless sanctuary city policies, which put criminals back into American communities. How many more Americans have to die before the Democrats end this madness? President Trump's position is very clear. He wants the federal government opened. He wants the Department of Homeland Security funded, and he wants the Democrat shutdown to end immediately. The president will also continue to call on Democrat leaders in sanctuary cities and states like J.B. Pritzker, where this young, beautiful girl was murdered, to cooperate with ICE and stop releasing illegal alien criminals into American neighborhoods. It is for the safety of every American citizen, including all of the people in this room. With that, I will take your questions. And here in our new media seat today, we have...
Okay, that's in with that clip. I got another. This one's 8 minutes.
Good to see all of you. Thanks for coming today, as always. We're going to start with some scheduling announcements.
This evening, President Trump will deliver remarks at Union Station for a political dinner. Tomorrow morning, the president will host the second cabinet meeting of the year and the 11th cabinet meeting of his second term. And later tomorrow afternoon, the president will host a Greek Independence Day celebration in the East Room. On Friday, the president will celebrate National Agriculture Day alongside nearly 1,000 farmers who are coming in from across the country for the first event of the season on the South Lawn, so pray for good weather, to highlight the president's successful policies in support of America's farmers, including efforts to lower input costs, open new trade markets, bolster the farm safety net, double the death tax exemption, end taxes on rural property loan interest, and create rural opportunity zones. Also, I'm pleased to announce that President Trump's meeting and a long-awaited meeting with President Xi in China will now take place in Beijing on May 14th and 15th. First Lady Melania and President Trump will also host President Xi and Madam Peng for a reciprocal visit in Washington, D.C. at a later date to be announced this year. Turning to the ongoing military operations in Iran, the United States military continues to decimate the terrorist Iranian regime's offensive and defensive capabilities. Just over 3 weeks in, it's abundantly clear that Operation Epic Fury has been a resounding military triumph. More than 9,000 enemy targets have been struck to date. Compared to the start of the operation, Iran's ballistic missile attacks and drone attacks are down by roughly 90%. The United States is also annihilating the Iranian regime's navy. We have destroyed more than 140 of their naval vessels, including almost 50 mine layers. This is the largest elimination of a navy over a 3-week period since World War II. Again, let me reiterate, this is the largest elimination of a navy on the face of the planet in a 3-week period since World War II. We are systematically dismantling Iran's defense industrial base, which will prevent future threats to the region. Our military also remains laser focused on eliminating the regime's threat to the free flow of energy through the Strait of Hormuz. Over the weekend, we dropped several 5,000-pound bombs on an underground facility used to store equipment, including anti-ship cruise missiles and mobile missile launchers positioned along the coastline of the strait. Our military efforts grow more successful with each passing day, steadily degrading Iran's ability to terrorize merchant ships. For all of these reasons, we are very close to meeting the core objectives of Operation Epic Fury, and this military mission continues unabated. From the outset, President Trump and the Department of War estimated it would take approximately 4 to 6 weeks to achieve this critical mission. 25 days in, the greatest military the world has ever known is ahead of schedule and performing exceptionally. Day by day, the Iranian regime is being crippled, and their ability to threaten the United States and our allies is being significantly weakened. Their ambitions of building a nuclear weapon have also been crushed to an even greater degree than they were in Operation Midnight Hammer in June 2025. That's why you're beginning to see the regime look for an exit ramp. They recognize they are being crushed, their ability to attack American and ally forces, as well as their ability to defend their own territory, is dwindling literally hour by hour. Following President Trump's powerful threat on Saturday evening, it was made clear to the United States that Iran wanted to talk. President Trump is willing to listen. As President Trump announced on Monday, the United States has been engaged over the last 3 days in productive conversations, which led the president to temporarily instruct the Department of War to postpone planned strikes against Iranian power plants and energy infrastructure only. The remaining elements of the Iranian regime have another opportunity to cooperate with President Trump, permanently abandon their nuclear ambitions, and cease actively threatening America and our allies. But the president's preference is always peace. There does not need to be any more death and destruction. But if Iran fails to accept the reality of the current moment, if they fail to understand that they have been defeated militarily and will continue to be, President Trump will ensure they are hit harder than they have ever been hit before. President Trump does not bluff, and he is prepared to unleash hell. Iran should not miscalculate again. Their last miscalculation cost them their senior leadership, their Navy, their Air Force, and their air defense system. Any violence beyond this point will be because the Iranian regime refused to understand they have already been defeated and refused to come to a deal.
Here at the Score Bet, it's not just a tournament, it's personal. We've got the easiest way to bet what you believe. No fluff, no gimmicks. Just
Here at home, we are now on day 40 of the Democrats' shutdown of the Department of Homeland Security. Democrats in Congress are forcing American travelers to wait in hours-long lines at airports across the country, robbing TSA officers and other federal workers of their hard-earned paychecks that they use to feed their families, and causing billions of dollars in damage to our economy. A father of 3 recently told CBS News that he felt he had no other choice but to quit his job as a TSA officer and find other work as the Democrats' shutdown of DHS continues. This is the quote from the father, and I encourage everyone to listen. I think the hardest thing is seeing the struggle that my wife was going through and not trying to bring more stress to her, the father of 3 said, but seeing her cry every night. How am I going to feed my family? How am I going to survive? For the Democrats in Congress, the cruelty of this shutdown is the point. Nearly 500 TSA officers have quit since the Democrat shutdown began. President Trump, to alleviate this pressure, made the decision to send some of our amazing ICE agents to help alleviate that stress and address the long wait times. And for all of the critics of this solution a few days ago when it was proposed by the president, it is yielding results. Wait times have improved since ICE arrived, and they are doing everything in their power to help their fellow federal service members. But it's important to take a step back and remember, why is this even happening in the first place? For nearly 6 weeks, Democrats in Congress have kept DHS shut down because they care more about illegal aliens than American citizens. You have Democrat elected representatives in states across the country who are willing to inflict massive pain on their own constituents to fight for illegal aliens who broke our nation's laws to come here. In recent days, we saw the deadly consequence of this deranged policy of Democrat open borders and an illegal alien first agenda. A beautiful 18-year-old girl, Sheridan Gorman, she was shot and killed in Chicago last Thursday morning while walking in a park with friends. The suspect in custody for murdering her is a Venezuelan illegal alien who was caught and released at the border by the Biden administration in May of 2023. Why would the Biden administration catch and release a Venezuelan illegal alien? That is not happening anymore under this president. But there are still tens of thousands, if not millions, of these illegal aliens in our country who seek to do harm to innocent Americans, like this beautiful young woman whose family will now never be the same because of her death. To make matters even worse, this monster was also released from local custody again after a shoplifting arrest, where in the sanctuary city of Chicago in June of 2023. Again, another innocent American citizen had her life stolen from her because Democrats embrace reckless open border policies and reckless sanctuary city policies, which put criminals back into American communities. How many more Americans have to die before the Democrats end this madness? President Trump's position is very clear. He wants the federal government opened. He wants the Department of Homeland Security funded, and he wants the Democrat shutdown to end immediately. The president will also continue to call on Democrat leaders in sanctuary cities and states like J.B. Pritzker, where this young, beautiful girl was murdered, to cooperate with ICE and stop releasing illegal alien criminals into American neighborhoods. It is for the safety of every American citizen, including all of the people in this room.
Whether you're back. Okay, let's wrap it up with that one. So I got 3 more big video, or a lot more big videos, but the next 3. So did anybody see who was on the red carpet at the White House today? Melania was walking with somebody. I don't know if anybody saw it. And the next 2 will play Mel, or we got. Did we play Billy Bean last night's video? Because she came out last night, 24 minutes. I can't remember if we played her or not. So we got that one, and then 47-minute Melania speech, if you guys want to hear that. Hey, here we go. What do you guys think of that one? Samantha, Carol, and all of them, you guys want to hear Melania speak? We'll get the other two, Mel and so yeah, I got another lot of good videos still to get out. So we're going to see if we played this or not. This was a lot.
Seven p.m. Some of the things we'll
we didn't
cover.
play this one.
Texas, Iran hit
24.
on Valero, and President.
So we'll play that Melania speech. Hey, CA, change the time again today, but try to get all the intel done before my games start here with baseball and all at 7. So this is 24. Then we'll do a couple short ones and then come back and do a 20-minute one and then on and on.
Trump talks, and he has J.D. Vance and Marco Rubio handling certain talks with Iran and Cuba. And the U.S. military deploying the 82nd Division, including Rangers, Delta, SEALs Plus. So let's get started. So we have in space weather, we have on March 26th, a CME, a coronal mass ejection, coming close to the Earth. That'll give us some impact. Now, we've been seeing for about the past 4 to 5 days, multiple coronal mass ejections, solar wind impacting the Earth, and almost constant geomagnetic storms, G1, G2, and so forth. We are seeing an uptick in large earthquakes, including one yesterday, a 7.6.
TurboTax locations are now open in your neighborhood.
Oh, early.
So hand off your
commercial.
taxes to an expert today. Now local experts do your taxes with 100% accuracy.
In the Tonga Trench, that's near Australia. That was 147 miles deep, no tsunami. It did ring the earth like a bell. We had today near Canada, we had a 4.0 earthquake, 6.2 miles deep. We had also, we've had in the past week then, we had, I think that was a 7 near Drake Passage, Antarctica. We had a 6 in the Mid-Atlantic Ridge. And we're seeing large earthquakes in multiple areas on the Earth affecting different regions and plates. So that's going on. And we have this. Now, we had a hit on Valero Refinery, Port Arthur, Texas. That's close to Houston. It's right on the south coast of Texas. And I saw this first on Facebook, and I didn't think much of it. I have had an environmental background. I'm familiar with plants and safety and environmental impacts. And it's not unusual in plants and refineries to have small explosion, fire going on. Just that's the nature. You have these chemicals, you have some unpredictable factors like weather, temperature, and humidity, and so on. But I had a nudge from God to look into this. So I did. I wrote it down. We had this happened yesterday, March 23, about 7:30 p.m. We had a fire and explosion at the Valero refinery located in Port Arthur, Texas. No injuries. There was no evac. People were just encouraged to shelter in place. Now we have intel coming out that one source was Hal Turner, another is Monkey Works. Monkey's source comes from X. So we have U.S. intel that rumors are in the U.S. intel field in the U.S. that the Valero plant was hit by a Iranian drone launched from the Gulf of America. So Valero's right on the southern coast near the Gulf of America. And that public statements were made by Iran with the IRGC taking credit. Now we have more information coming out this afternoon. Monkey Works brings this out. There was a post on X about 1 hour before Valero was hit. So in Texas, that would have been about 6:30 p.m. yesterday. And U.S. intel believes the source for the X post came from Saudi Arabia, predicting that a major refinery in the U.S. would be hit within the next week. And the posting went on X about 1 hour before the Valero explosion. Then, after the explosion took place, the X account and all of its thousands of previous postings were deleted. So we see multiple sources now appearing to support that, yes, Texas was hit by Iran with a drone with some type of explosive on it yesterday about 6:30 p.m. So that's going on. And we have this. We have from Newsweek. Oh, yeah. So in Minnesota, we continue to see, a $200 billion fraud from Medicare, Medicaid, and Minnesota put in place and allowed and most likely paid off by the commie Dems in Minnesota. We have 5 more people pleading guilty. They could get up to 20 years in prison. And they have also been given jail sentences and fines. They have to make restitution up to millions of dollars. So that's going on. And we have this.
Together, we are strong. Corewell Health. We can.
Have you ever seen a cherry tree that can be planted now and harvested in April? Introducing the latest agricultural breakthrough developed jointly.
So we have what's going on with Iran. We have Israel taking down inside Iran a besiege location and individuals. Besiege is the department of the IRGC in Iran that machine guns down unarmed Iranian people in the streets. We believe since January, 60 to 80,000 Iranian citizens have been killed. And we saw earlier this week the evil and corrupt IRGC hanging 3 young people publicly. One of them, Saleh Mohammadi, an international 19-year-old wrestling champion. These people are evil. You cannot negotiate with them, and they must be annihilated. So that's going on. We have this from DeBoo, that Department of Homeland Security, within the past 24 hours, has recommended that all American citizens have 3 days worth of cash, food, water, medicine. So that's going on. It's possible the DHS alert came out either probably a few hours before the Valero plant in Port Arthur, Texas was hit. We have this from President Trump, that there is chaos inside IRGC. We understand now that 3 levels of their management inside both the mullahs, clerics, and the IRGC besiege. They've taken out, the U.S. and Israel have taken out at least 3 levels of leaders. They're down to now using young men in their 20s and 30s, who also, once they're announced, don't last long. President Trump stated yesterday he was talking to someone in Iran about a possible peace deal, and we know yesterday he paused the U.S. hitting the electric power grid in Iran for 5 days, and also put a pause on the U.S. taking control of the Strait of Hormuz. Now, it's coincidental, you can believe, that in 5 days, the 82nd plus the Marines are going to be there. So that's going on. We later had a clarification from President Trump saying, oh, did I say I was talking to someone inside Iran? Or did I say I was talking to someone from Iran? Big difference there. And we have this. We have, so we saw yesterday Iran making massive hits on Israel, and Israel then hitting Lebanon also to take down the Iranian proxy Hezbollah. And we have this. In Israel, they had 9 hits yesterday. One of them was, Israel made 9 hits yesterday on Iran, including command and control centers in Tehran. That's the capital city. Also, hits took place yesterday inside Iran on their 3rd largest city, Isfahan. And this information comes out from Tusi TV, that the U.S. and Israel have taken out 330 launchers, and they have 140 to go. I submit that report came out about 12 hours ago, and I believe that the U.S. certainly would be pounding hard any launcher locations they can find, plus other strategic U.S. military targets inside Iran prior to the Marines and the 82nd arriving. So that's going on. And and we have Iran yesterday hit Israel hard in Haifa, hitting an Israeli refinery. A major hit by Iran on Israel, and this refinery in Haifa supplied Israel with 60% of its oil, 59% gasoline, 65% diesel, and 52% jet fuel. So that's going on. And we have this. As soon as President Trump made the statement yesterday about pausing 5 days, the price of oil per barrel went down. Some measures had it down to $88 a barrel, but it went below $100 per barrel. We're seeing U.S. intel reporting that the Gulf states are selling their gold and silver, and they are moving to U.S. dollars. We have in Australia, several areas are out of fuel and this is prompting a panic at the grocery stores. We're hearing that the Philippines is also having a fuel emergency. So we see what's going on with Iran, the Strait of Hormuz, the flow of oil from the Middle East is impacting global economy. I have this from Facebook.
Yep, right. Yeah, they all should be fired and gone. But we gotta wait till the movie is over.
Turkey is requiring, is reporting that the Iranian regime has shot at point blank its citizens in the streets, which is accurate. And this posting is encouraging President Trump, the U.S. military, to finish the kill. So that's going on. And we have this. That actual posting from Facebook was from a witness inside Iran who saw his friends and family being shot down at point blank range inside the streets of Iran by the IRGC and Besiege. We have this from P. Guru's rumors that the U.S. Is in talks with Iran and that President Trump has assigned the talks with Iran to be handled by Vice President J.D. Vance, and that the talks in Cuba be handled by Secretary of State Marco Rubio. And it's being put forth, rumors, that the U.S. could be talking with individuals from Iran located in Pakistan. Now, 7 to 10 days ago, I put out that intel that longer than that, almost right after this began, February 28, that the IRGC top commanders had evac'd from Iran and they were calling the shots from Pakistan. So now this rumor that Vance and Witkoff are going to talk with Iranian individuals in Pakistan appears to hold a little bit of water, and that several of the Gulf states will mediate. That's including Egypt, Saudi Arabia, Oman, plus. So that's going on. And Ukraine has also hit a refinery inside Russia, which is also now spiking the price of oil. We have this, that, we know the Gerald Ford Carrier Strike Group needed repairs and has withdrawn from the Red Sea and is getting repairs in Crete. And we have this from the Israel-Palestine report. This is from a prof inside Israel. That there are talks going on between Egypt, Turkey, Pakistan, and Oman to mediate talks between the U.S. and Iran. And that Iran is confirming talks are going on with the U.S. So that's going on. And we have this, excuse me. It's believed that some type of meeting is being set up between the U.S. and Iran and Pakistan for next Thursday. That'll be chaired by Vice President J.D. Vance. And it's believed that Iran has agreed, there were preconditions apparently for the meeting, to no uranium enrichment and several other goals of the U.S. regarding Iran's uranium. And we have this, the Besiege group of the IRGC in Iran. That Besiege is the group that machine guns down the unarmed Iranian people. That the U.S. and Israel have taken down the majority of the Besiege checkpoints and the Besiege members, and that Israel has hit in Iran an apartment building where the IRGC live.
Taxes was chasing updates. Now Taxes is a TurboTax expert, doing it all for you, so you can chase this feeling. Now this is Taxes. Intuit TurboTax.
When I started using this Navy SEAL muscle device, my friends laughed at me. But when only 30 days later, my beer gut had...
And in Isfahan, the third largest city in Iran, we have that the U.S. hit a manufacturing company making optics for the Iranian military. So we see consistent flow of hits being made on Iran. In Lebanon, that's a nation adjacent to Israel where Iran's proxy Hezbollah is bombing Israel. Now the government of Lebanon is expelling Iranian diplomats and the Iranian ambassador Shabani. They are to be out of Lebanon by March 29. And we have efforts by Saudi Arabia, Qatar, UAE to do the same. And that Lebanon wants out of the nation of Lebanon, the Iranian proxy Hezbollah. So that's going on. And we have this. We have that Saudi Arabia and UAE are considering taking military action against Iran. And the U.S. has hit the Iranian Navy bases near Bashir, also near Karg Island. And we have that Israel has taken out senior IRGC and Besiege leaders, and they're now getting down to young men in their 20s and 30s. And it's believed by sources in America that the Pentagon will soon deploy the 82nd. I have more on that. We have Admiral Cooper yesterday, March 23, saying to the Iran people, don't come out yet. And that Iran has made hits. Yes, they did yesterday, Iran hit sites inside Israel yesterday. And that President Trump says there are U.S. talks going on involving Iran. And we have this. So now we have the intel about the 82nd Division, some parts of it being deployed. And this comes from Hal Turner this afternoon. It's coming out from U.S. intel that the commander of the 82nd Division has received deployment orders, and they are deploying their several groups in the 82nd. They have the command structure, and Major General Tegmeyer, commander of the 82nd, have received deployment orders to go to the Middle East. And we have C-17s this afternoon taking off with several parts of the 82nd Division, including the 160th Special Operation Aviation SOAR, also Rangers, Delta, 1st Special Force Group, 5th Special Operations Group, and SEALs. So that's going on. And now for a short prayer. This is based on Jeremiah 43. Father, we come to you in the name of Jesus, who many call Yeshua. And we pray, Father, that you utterly destroy in Iran temples and dry deserts for evil entities. And we pray, Father, in the name of Jesus, and many call Yeshua, that you bind up and heal the wounds of your people in Iran. And Father, that you shield your people and the U.S. and Israeli militaries who are prosecuting with extreme prejudice this conflict, war effort, who are engaged in fighting against evil in Iran. And we pray, Father, that you set the Middle East free. And we say thank you, God the Father, God the Son, Jesus, whom many call Yeshua, and God the Holy Spirit. I say to my family and friends, remain steady out there, continue to pray. God is in charge, and he is on the move. I love you, and I'll see you soon.
Okay, that was last night's video. Nothing yet from today. I got about 7 short ones I'm going to play, and then we'll do Mel video, 22 minutes, and a couple more short ones, and then we'll do Melania's video.
Living rooms, in town squares, from Cincinnati to Cleveland and Toledo. People are waking up to a truth that's been ignored for too long. The political establishment is not working for us any longer. For years, Ohioans have watched as the same insider deals get made, the same promises get broken, the same power players shuffle between parties. It's all one big club, and we're not in it. Democrats and Republicans might wear different jerseys, but they're playing for the same game, and everyday Ohioans are losing. While career politicians talk about reaching across the aisle, what they really mean is protecting the status quo. They're comfortable, they're connected, they're counting on us to stay home, stay quiet, and let them keep running things. Meanwhile, the government grows out of control, our taxes spiral, and we're losing our individual freedom. But here's what they didn't count on. Ohioans are done being silent. Families are watching their property taxes skyrocket. Small farmers are seeing their land targeted by developers and special interests who see Ohio as nothing more than a commodity. Working people are watching their rights erode, policies crafted in boardrooms, not at kitchen tables. The Push for Ohio movement represents something the establishment fears most: authentic grassroots power. These aren't polished politicians. We've not spent decades climbing the ladder. We've not been given Soros-funded money. We've not attended Yale or Harvard. We've gone to school right here in Ohio. We're your neighbors. We're dedicated, and we are tired. Enough is enough. We're ready to stand up, speak truth, push back against every force that's trying to sell out our state piece by piece. Look, we're not worried about offending the powerful interests who've gotten richer while our communities have struggled. May 5th is Election Day. It's the moment when ordinary Ohioans can send an unmistakable message to the political machine. But this only works if we all show up. The establishment is counting on apathy. And they're betting that people won't make an effort, that people won't believe change is possible. They won't think your vote matters. But they're wrong. April 6th is the last day to register to vote in the primary. May 5th is Republican primary election day. You just walk in, request the Republican ballot, vote for Casey Butch for governor and Kim Georgeson for lieutenant governor. That's not much time, but it's enough time to make sure you're registered. Tell your neighbors and commit to showing up at the polls. Every major movement starts at the bleeding edge of grassroots. Right now, across Ohio, that groundswell is building. We're asking for representation that actually matters, that actually represents us. Leaders who will stand against the globalist interests trying to reshape our state without our consent. Representatives who understand that Ohio's land, Ohio's rights, and Ohio's future belong to us, the Ohioans, not to corporations, not to bureaucrats, not to anyone who sees our home as just another asset to exploit. On May 5th, all primary voters have a choice: more of the same or something new and different, someone ready to challenge the system. The machine wants you to believe that your vote doesn't matter, that the game is already decided. And for the most part, it is, unless you all get up and go and vote. Mark your calendar, check your registration status before April 6th. Make your plan to vote and bring everyone who's tired of being ignored, tired of being sold out, and ready to reclaim Ohio for Ohioans. The future of Ohio isn't decided in Columbus, boardrooms, or Washington backrooms. It's decided at the ballot box. This is our state. This is our moment. And on May 5th, we show up and make it count. Are you registered yet? Visit your county board of elections or check online before April 6th.
Okay, that's Ohio update. Now we go to Colorado.
Program that's blown past elections, not the same one as yesterday, a different one, to election oversight concerns, to missing taxpayer dollars in Denver. Let's just go ahead and jump in. We start with a Rocky Mountain Voice investigation that connects the dots between policy decisions and political ambition. Two Democrats, Shannon Byrd and Manny Rutinell, who helped create and fund Colorado's Medicaid expansion for non-citizens, are now running for Congress, even as that program sits at the center of a growing budget crisis. Originally projected to cost about $14.7 million, the program has surged to more than $104 million this year, with estimates climbing even higher. Lawmakers are now cutting benefits for disabled children and capping dental care as the state scrambles to deal with a ballooning deficit. Next, another Rocky Mountain Voice original raising transparency concerns in Colorado elections. El Paso County Clerk Steve Schleicher has stepped down from a leadership role in the Colorado County Clerks Association and pulled his county out entirely, citing concerns about transparency, independence, and outside influence. He says he was excluded from key meetings and later told those meetings may not have even occurred, raising questions about internal operations and trust within the organization that plays a major role in Colorado's elections. Meanwhile, in Denver, a major homelessness initiative is under scrutiny. A city audit found Denver's All-In Mile High program may have underreported about $20 million in spending, with total costs reaching roughly $178 million. While the program has been credited with reducing unsheltered homelessness, auditors say financial transparency and planning were definitely insufficient. In Lakewood, a property rights issue is sparking frustration after a fire destroyed a single-family home. The new owner was told he cannot rebuild it as a single-family residence due to zoning changes. Instead, the city now requires multi-unit development, highlighting how shifting land use policies can override what property owners expect they're allowed to do with their own land. At the Capitol, lawmakers are moving to replace Cesar Chavez Day with Farm Workers Day, following new abuse allegations from a co-founder of the United Farm Workers Union, adding yet another layer to an already controversial debate. And in the energy sector, federal regulators are pushing back on Colorado. The EPA has flagged multiple state-issued oil and gas permits, saying they fail to require proper monitoring of emissions, raising concerns about whether companies are accurately reporting pollution levels. Now to national headlines. The Supreme Court is weighing whether states can continue counting mail-in ballots that arrive after Election Day.
No.
The decision could impact election laws across more than
Not
a
after.
dozen states ahead of the 2026 midterms. At the same time, questions about federal spending are growing. Some Republican lawmakers are pushing back on a proposed $200 billion Pentagon request tied to the Iran conflict, with critics asking how the money would be used and whether it could expand into even larger long-term costs. And closer to home, while some airports nationwide are seeing federal staffing issues and ICE coming on in, Colorado airports remain unaffected for now. Officials say security lines are short and there are no plans to deploy ICE agents to assist at checkpoints. That's all for today, you guys. Subscribe to the Mountain Minute daily newsletter. If you aren't subscribed to this newsletter, highly, highly suggest. It sends this news.
Hey, Colorado news. One minute.
My word of advice to you would be this.
I can't play that one because of the music. Lucy, I only got one so far with her. I don't know if I'll get it more today or not.
Unless you want to end up being an old baggy bitch like me, living with 152,000 animals, I suggest you listen up. P.S. I love living with my animals. I haven't dated in 5 years and don't plan on dating ever again. But being single for 5 years and being surrounded by animals and all of their little doings made me come to a conclusion and made me realize some things. Animals are just going to be animals. They're not out to hurt you on purpose. They're not out to shit in the floor just to piss you off. They're just being who they are. They didn't come with a warning label. They didn't try to put on a different act. They've always been who they are. And that's how you have to look at relationships. When a person shows you who they are, believe them. That is the oldest saying, the most ignored saying in the world. Do not think that you are all that and you are going to heal somebody and they're going to miraculously change and not be the person that you see they are, and yet you want to be with them only because you think they're going to be better after you get with them and y'all work things out and he changes. That's not going to happen. Either accept him with everything that he does and everything he comes with, or her, or move on. Because all it's going to do is cause problems, depression, sadness, low self-esteem, and chaos. Okay, that is the advice I'm going to give you. If men would not put on an act, which a lot of them do, and a lot of women do, they introduce themselves and they're all different than what they really are. But if you pay attention to your gut instincts and you watch them closely, you will see who they really are. You just have to pay attention, and you have to not be so damn desperate to be in a relationship that you're willing to overlook a bunch of shit. Because let me tell you something, you might be desperate right now to be in a relationship and you just don't care because you'll overlook these things just so you can have somebody because you're lonely. That's going to come back and bite you in the ass, and you're going to end up being lonely again. So just because you're
Another good one, Hockey.
Don't sacrifice your values and your morals just to have somebody in your life. Don't see red flags and throw them in your closet so later on you have enough of them that you can make a damn pillow sham, a quilt, and a set of bedroom curtains, okay? When somebody shows you who they are, believe them. Women, quit chasing men. Men are like cavemen. They're the same. They like to hunt. They don't want to be hunted. Stop chasing men. If they want you, they'll chase you. I promise. Okay, take care, guys. Hey, this is
Okay, that was only one so far. Billy came out again, guys. 13 minutes, but we'll get to it later. Okay, see where we're at here. I believe it's this one. I don't know if we played this one yet or not.
Sightings just in March alone.
And I'm sure this isn't even half of them. Just yesterday morning, there was a huge bright green fireball that was seen flying over the Pacific Northwest. This article is from last month. Earth defenseless against thousands of city killer asteroids in space, as
That's the
NASA
new
chief
one.
admits it keeps me up at night. Just yesterday, there was a mysterious hum heard across several U.S. states as residents reporting vibrating homes and sleepless nights. Now, I have my own theory, but I'm only going to give y'all clues because I don't want my video to be taken down. First, I want to show you the video of the meteor in Ohio. All right, first, look at this one. Doesn't that look like an interception? And then look at this. That's pretty suspicious. So y'all know there's things that are flying across the sky over there in the Middle East right now. They go boom. And then we have this video of this meteor getting intercepted. Then yesterday there was a massive fire that started at one of our refineries and then a reported explosion. It may not be nothing, but I find that a little odd, especially when I believe just the day before the Iran regime said that if we hit their refineries that they were going to start hitting ours. And not just that, but targeting things over here. Now, I'm not saying this is what's going on, but something seems a little suspicious. And we already know the
That was a good one
GOP
from her
doesn't tell
today.
us the truth. Listen up. Let's talk about this.
Flying Eagle had to go to work, you guys, so. Got 3 from the California lady.
Asking millionaires who left the state for Florida to come back because the situation has become even more complicated with the possibility of her ending up in prison for defaulting on debts and committing billions in fraud. Who remembers that it was Hochul herself in 2022 who told them to leave New York. I remember it very well. She was shouting into the microphone, saying her state didn't need millionaires and that they should take their businesses and go to Florida. But your request was granted, my dear. It seems that the billions in federal funds she defrauded along with other Democratic governors used for so-called social projects came from spending other people's money, handing out free benefits without considering the fiscal chaos it would create, just to please voters. But socialists are happy until other people's money runs out. Now the bill has finally come due, and it's past time for her to pay because Donald Trump has already issued the ultimatum. Pay what you owe or go to jail. I'm Fernanda Perez-Riley, and if you want to see Kathy Hochul in prison, follow.
Okay, that's 1, 2 more.
Did an arrest warrant for the Democratic senator following the latest scandals that could send major Democratic heavyweights to jail. He said he wouldn't leave the Senate and even threatened a hunger strike and to handcuff himself inside the Capitol building in protest over his possible arrest. More than 15 senators have already submitted resolutions to the Ethics Committee to expel Schumer. The situation for the Democratic senator became even more complicated with his mistress, who tried to flee the country and ended up being detained at the airport by ICE agents. Since it was Chuck Schumer who brought his mistress and her family from Mexico to the United States with the intention of using them as fronts to conceal assets of illicit origin. Do I understand the panic the Democratic senator has over the approval of the Save America Act? Because he's not the only one who used immigrants to increase his wealth. In my state, the governor himself also used his family as fronts to purchase a mansion in San Diego valued at $25 million. But the situation for both of them is very complicated. And I believe that very soon we will see a major purge with these people being sent to jail. And if you support the imprisonment of these scoundrels as much as I do, follow me here because my loves, we have to cleanse America of these.
Okay, 1 more. Wait. It should be a. Not sure. I don't think this is.
He said he wouldn't leave the Senate and even threatened a hunger strike and to handcuff himself inside the Capitol building in protest over his possible arrest.
Oh.
More than 15 senators have all.
Sorry, that was. I don't know if that was the same one. All right, we'll go on to the next video. A 3-minute video. former Canadian lady, now in Texas.
For a little savings, Specialist Miller buys in bulk. For a lot of savings,
The World Economic Forum and the UN have actually just turned tables with their entire notion of you will own nothing and you will be happy. You see, they tried actually doing this through government policies. However, a lot of people have woken up to their agenda. And so now they're turning to corporations in order to trap us into the same digital prison where they want us, and also owning nothing and being happy and eating the bugs. Let me just show you what they have come up with. There is something called the Economy DO Black Card, and it is a prominent credit card that calculates the carbon footprint of every transaction, allowing users to track and set limits on their CO2 impact, often capping spending based on emissions. No. Anyways, the developed with MasterCard, it uses Allen Index to measure the impact. Let's click on Allen Index and see where it takes us. Oh, look at that. It takes us to the World Economic Forum where it says this credit card has a carbon emission spending limit. And let's look at how they're calculating it with drinks, snacks, oils, spreads, fruits, vegetables, cereals, breads, dairy, chicken, fish, pork, beef, and lamb. And look at these vegans, you know, the ones that will eat the bugs and be happy, like where they want all of us to be. Yeah, that's going to be pushed on us. But don't worry. There's a number of companies like Qantas and Lufthansa who are going to offer passengers a chance to pay extra to cover their carbon emissions with limited uptake. So you can only go wherever you want to go. Like, don't worry, it's all freedom. It's to save the environment. It's definitely not to usher in communism. And this is the first bank to actually roll this out in Malaysia. It's called the Maybank Malaysia, launched the My Impact credit card. Isn't that so cool? And they're enticing new people to sign up with the credit card because you don't have any late payments. You don't have any, interest rates. And they're just telling you that you can set your own limits on however you want. They're basically training you like little dogs so you can get used to it. And then they're going to put the caps and limits on there. And then once you get the social credit score and the UBIs and all of that thing, it's like a nice little link chain that's going to link chain us all to a tree called the digital prison. But it gets even worse. Car manufacturers now are going down the road as well because apparently cars are super expensive and we need to subscribe to things like AC and radios and all of that stuff. But don't worry, they came up with a solution for that. They're going to bundle it all in a monthly thing and then give you limited mileage. Yeah, I'm not even kidding. Let me show you. Cars are cruising down the monthly subscription highway. Gee, I wonder what that means. Car makers like Volvo and Porsche will give you a 24-month program. You can cancel it after 4 months. Don't worry. And you're allowed only 15,000 miles per year under this program, but don't worry, you can pay more if you can afford it. And if not, well, then I guess you're stuck bicycling. And yeah, look at this. All these other, like in Tesla, they'll give you a 1,000 per mile monthly limit. That's only 12,000 miles per year. Amazing. And then when you look at the universal basic income in Canada, it actually started back in the 1930s when something called the social credit movement had an idea around those lines.
Enjoy convenient banking.
Hey, former Canada lady, now in Texas. Hey, mail time, you guys. $22 minutes.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Well, we're going to hook straight in because this is a very, very big fundamental one today for all of you. Okay, so Wacky Wednesday, China-Taiwan war. Let's not forget this war. As I said, are these wars got to do with, I don't know, the monetary system? I think so. Very interesting article came out about China and Taiwan, saying that Taiwan has now skipped the World Trade Organization conference after it's been labelled a province of China. Boom, shakalaka, ladies and gentlemen. They were never, ever left China. They were always part of China. So, again, this is that restructuring that I've been talking about for quite some time, about how these things are being implemented. You just have to see them and think logical. So there you go, ladies and gentlemen. Taiwan skipped the World Trade Organization conference. It is a province of China. The war has been won in China and Taiwan. So just a different perspective on all of that. What is a province, though? This was really when it gets really, really interesting. It's another conversation on the Q&A sometime, but a province is a principal administrative division of a country or empire. So Taiwan is a province of China. It has always been that case, as I said. Just a thought-provoking idea while people are coming in before I get into the fundamentals. Saudi Arabia Group, this was very interesting. Saudi Arabia now says that the World Economic Forum is postponing its jihad meeting, which was originally set for the 22nd to the 23rd of April. And it's going to be in due course when they re-significant that particular meeting. What's interesting, as I said, this is, of course, the restructuring of the World Economic Forum, and understand that this restructuring is that now we're not having meetings on time. Very, very interesting. What's also going on in the Reserve Bank of India? Well, this is where the fundamentals start to really kick in, ladies and gentlemen. The Reserve Bank of India, they are doing more on their digital payments intelligence platforms to empower the usage of their system, which is addressing all the manual intervention. There is some frictions. They have come out publicly and said that there is frictions between this transition period. What was also interesting is here in Australia, we had, as I said, a very big banking meeting last Monday, and National Australia Bank were doing things on the side, so as it indicated that the banking structure was upgrading to we the people. So let's hope that's what is going on there as well. They never tell you exactly what's going on, but my understanding is what I'm seeing is that we're now done the wholesale connection of the central banks into our treasuries, and now we're waiting for it to come through the treasury through to us, the people. So I think this is what this new friction in the quantum system is actually occurring. Of course, the Clarity Act, they say, is progressing slowly. Understand it's already passed. I've always said this. It was a good reminder yesterday or on Monday, whenever it was, that these things have already been done in the background. This is just formalities. Let's go to Cuba. Cuba's economic system has collapsed. Why is that so? This is part of their reset. Please understand that. So that's, although it's tough on the citizens in that country, it was necessary to make sure that we understand this is part of the reset. Hong Kong, well, it's debuted its regulatory silver token.
Hello. Boy, oh, there she is. Oh, she's muted.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is getting very interesting. They are muting me.
Wow.
I unmuted myself and they're muting me. Damn, I don't know how much you've listened to. CA, can you tell me, I've just unmuted your CA. Chatty, are you there?
Hi, Mel. Yes, I am here. And yes, you have been muted. They muted you for, I want to say, about 30 seconds to a minute.
Little rat bags. Okay.
I was actually talking to KR right now on text messages, and she told me the same thing.
Yeah, I saw it. I heard it going crack, crack, crack. And then next minute I went, they muted me. Darn things. Colorado mum is putting her hand up. I'm saying she's probably having the same issues on her side as well, but thank you, CA.
Yep.
So where was I up to, Champion, about the Clarity Act?
Yes, you were at the Clarity Act.
Of course I was. Anyway, let's get back to it. Thanks, Champion. I appreciate you. It's always good to have administrators in the house, that's for sure. Not that he's an admin at all, but anytime he's Okay, the Clarity Act, of course, it is progressing. It is already done, ladies and gentlemen. What's happening in Cuba? Cuba's economic system has collapsed. And, of course, this is a part of the reset. As I was saying before I got muted, this is part of them collapsing their system. It is not good for the citizens. Therefore, they require a reset. We're talking about Hong Kong, and this is when it really started to crack on my side, and I knew that they were muting me, was when we were talking about Hong Kong is debuting its regulatory silver token. A silver token. This is part of the real world assets tokenization, ladies and gentlemen. This is your blockchain base of physical gold and silver. So this silver token, of course, is backed by silver. Real world assets in the digital asset world are physical or traditional assets such as real estate, bonds, gold and silver, as I said, which are converted into digital tokens on a blockchain. Once they are tokenized as a real world asset, which is part of this Hong Kong silver token, so important, is that once it is tokenized, it allows you to have fractional ownership. It also allows you to have easier trading. You can trade that silver token. You can connect it with traditional finance. You can use it as a hedge to as part of collateral, so to speak. So this is why we start talking about how we become our own bank. So this silver token out of Hong Kong, ladies and gentlemen, is very, very pivotal when it comes to what is transpiring. This also, of course, as I said, as real world assets start to take hold, we're talking about strata titles, and this also includes those who are in syndicates and things like that as well. What it does, it gives you more liquidity and transparency. And
I'm going to play about probably 6 more short ones and a couple biddies, and then see if you guys, how many want me to play the speech that Melania played today.
And access to higher valued assets and yielding generations and things like that as well. But each of these tokens, these silver tokens, are linked to 1 ounce of silver. Okay? In this particular instance, it is silver token in Hong Kong is equivalent to 1 ounce of silver. Get very excited. With the underlying asset being held in trust. Now, this is what we're going to talk about in a short while about Delaware. So just keep all of that in mind. This is your 1-to-1 parallel, ladies and gentlemen, 1 ounce of silver to 1 token. Okay? They're backing, this is ensuring that the token value or the token value to silver in this particular case is directly tied to the reserves that they have. So this is my point. They need to have these physical silver in reserves for you to purchase a silver token. Okay? So understand all of that. This is why we're seeing so many countries across the world building up their gold reserves, building up their silver reserves, building up their copper reserves, and countries building up their mining reserves because they need to have the physical for us to convert to this new world of tokenization where we go 1-to-1 parallel. Okay, so this, of course, eliminates all of that speculative pricing and price gouging. This eliminates your COMEX. So congratulations to Hong Kong. That was the first big news. Let's go to Delaware. This is huge, ladies and gentlemen. I am really, really excited about this. Crossing the Delaware, Christmas Eve. We've all been waiting for that, haven't we? Well, I think we've just crossed it, or we're in the process of crossing the Delaware. In Delaware, this could set a national precedence for integrating digital assets into traditional banking frameworks. Get very excited. The Delaware banking has now modernized their banking system, and they're calling it the Banking Modernization Act of 2026. Now, keep in mind, the illustrious Joe Biden, whatever you want to call it, was in Delaware, correct, because they could control the financial system. Well, Delaware has now taken control because the legacy was originally they were going to be a financial hub in Delaware. This new Senate Bill 16, this was the new Act of Modernization. 16 or 19, we'll get back to that. It introduces digital assets and virtual currency. It modernizes governance and organizational rules for banks and trust companies. That's very, very important for all of us. Virtual currency and trust companies. Inside this bill, it is supported and permits out-of-state financial institutions to act as fiduciaries in the Delaware, while enabling banks to manage the digital assets on behalf of their clients. As I said many times, banks are there as a service provider. They're not there for the benefits of you and I. We've known that for years. This is where this modernization or this new system takes over the old system. Okay, so let's get into it a little bit more because it starts to make a little bit more sense. The Senate Bill 19, this is the second part of this new Modernization Act out of Delaware. The Delaware Payment Stabilization Act. This acts as a companion to the previous bill we just spoke about. This measure is set as a regulatory framework for stablecoins. Doesn't that sound like the Clarity Act to you and that, ladies and gentlemen? But it's setting a regulatory framework for stablecoins. What are stablecoins? Stablecoins are those tokens that are backed by a physical asset or stabilized against a digital asset. It requires companies that issue or manage these tokens or stable coins to be licensed and supervised. That there, ladies and gentlemen, is the Genius Act, which was signed into law by DJT in July of 2025. 12 months later, we're celebrating on the 4th of July 2026. This imposes, of course, that reserve requirement that I was just talking about. So this requirement requires, as I said, the physical hard reserve of that gold or silver that they are tokenizing. So not just I'm seeing it in Hong Kong, I saw this in Delaware. So we've now seen the Clarity Act, which I said earlier in the show, I believe is already being passed. This is proof of that. We're seeing the Genius Act being enforced into law in the second part of this Modernisation Act in Delaware. And of course, this is all linked to the old Bretton Woods, Basel III, Basel IV compliance as well. The third part, so we're crossing the Delaware, ladies and gentlemen. Get the picture here. We're crossing the Delaware. It is expected to be filed. The third and final component is expected to be filed in the coming days. This final component will replace existing state monetary transmissions statutes with a standardized regime to coordinate, eliminate duplicative licensing burdens. So this is what they were doing in Delaware while the Democrats were running that state. This is going to make it, of course, more modernised, safer, and soundless for all digital payments. ladies and gentlemen, as I said, was this war more to do with the financial system, as we have been educating ourselves over this for quite some time? If Delaware was known as the financial hub back in the day, then you can expect that this next filing in the coming days is going to be very important. But wait, there is more. This is where it gets even more interesting. We're going to go to Indonesia before I tidy all of this up for this fantastic Wacky Wednesday. And I'm proud of this one today because this brings everything together. And this is what you need to be focusing on. So I've talked about Australia. I've talked about Delaware. I've talked about, what other country was it? Hong Kong. We're talking about many countries. But in Indonesia, they've also are doing some massive growth. Their government, so to speak, has just come out with their new payment apparatus. This is also sharing and ties in with what we've just talked about with Delaware. This new apparatus changes their 13th salary on June the 13th, 2026. Reverse the curse, ladies and gentlemen. These are for your civil servant payments, your retirees, your pensioners, and allowances in Indonesia. That, ladies and gentlemen, is proof of the times that we are very, very close to having all of this said and done and dusted. This is your reset, your currency reset. So I'm hoping and thinking along the lines of what I've read in this new government apparatus in Indonesia, that this is their universal income being released on June the 13th, and this, that, and all the rest of it. So there's many things to do with that. The US Treasury. Now, here's a very interesting one that no one's talking about. Interesting to see what happens after my show, but let's get to it. The US Treasury has declared the US insolvent. Get excited. According to the Government Accountability Office, they cannot verify the books. I wonder why. Because they can't verify their books because it's now all on blockchain and nothing adds up. Nothing's going to balance. Their off-sheet balance is like an iceberg. Ladies and gentlemen, I think we just sunk the Federal Reserve. Just putting it out there. We'll see what happens. But when your Government Accountability Office comes out and says that they can't verify the books, that the US is insolvent, boom, shaka laka to me, ladies and gentlemen, and to the beautiful Love Trumpy too, by the way, that we discovered this, and this is where it all comes down to crunch time. Our focus is normally on what we think is going to happen, but here is my last two actions that we need to be watching this week. And they're not what you think it is. It's nothing to do with the war. This, ladies and gentlemen, are your two legislative actions that you're going to be considering to watch. The first one is the bipartisan House of Representatives 3289, your Fiscal Commission Act. Number two, we're going to watch Congress to call the Article 5, the convention limited to proposing a fiscal responsibility amendment to the US Constitution. Ladies and gentlemen, there you have it. I'm interested to see who picks up on this one. This one needs to be shared wide and far, and I don't normally say that at all. But ladies and gentlemen, we are there. We are there, ladies and gentlemen. Go through those fundamentals. Let's do a quick briefing before I end the show. We're talking about what's happening. Forget about the wars. China-Taiwan war is now won. It is a province of China. Tick. Saudi Arabia talking about the postponements in the World Economic Forum. Didn't know they were part of the World Economic Forum. But anyway, there's movement at the station, for the word that passed around. The Clarity Act, as I said, has passed. We're seeing one of the biggest of the BRICS nations, Reserve Bank of India, telling us that they are addressing all these manual interventions and that there is friction at the system, in the system. We're talking about Cuba. We're talking about silver tokens, ladies and gentlemen. We're talking about real-world assets, that being your currency of gold and silver coming into play. We're talking about one-to-one backing of 1 ounce of silver to 1 token. We're talking about crossing the Delaware, the national banking system being modernised in the new hub of finances. Ladies and gentlemen, it is a good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and a good night from me. Enjoy those fundamentals. It may take a couple of times. You may have to re-go over this. If it's static, I will give you all the notes directly after the show. Ladies and gentlemen, bye.
Okay, that was a short one she put out last night. Yes, we got a Billy Bean 14-minute, and then all the other ones will play. The other one's too long. I got short ones right now. Three minutes.
Million in London real estate. That's typical of the old order. Now, this has happened before. On February 14th, 1945, Franklin Roosevelt stopped in the Great Bitter Lake in the Suez Canal and received King Ibn bin Saud of Saudi Arabia aboard the USS Quincy. He did it secretly, without telling Churchill. After Roosevelt told Congress these exact words, "I learned more about the whole problem of Arabia, the Muslims, and the Jewish problem in 5 minutes by talking with Ibn Saud than I could have learned in exchange of 2 or 3 dozen letters." Churchill was furious. Roosevelt had promised him the U.S. would not interfere in the British sphere of influence and broke that promise deliberately. His translator, Colonel Eady, recorded that Churchill, quote, burned up the wires to all his diplomats in the area, demanding appointments with the Arab monarchs the moment Roosevelt had left. Churchill rushed to meet Ibn Saud himself. The contrast was devastating. Ibn Saud told Eady, Churchill speaks deviously, evades understanding, changes the subject to avoid commitment. The president seeks understanding. His effort is to make the two minds meet. I have never met the equal of the president in character, wisdom, and gentility. Churchill's meeting failed, and the U.S.-Saudi relationship has flourished ever since. Ibn Saud's discussion of Roosevelt is very similar to how the Gulf states now describe Donald Trump. So let's see what we have here. Roosevelt started to cut out the imperial middleman and world energy production in 1945. By 1971, London had inserted itself back in. America became the military muscle behind a resource looting system whose profits ran through the city of London and Wall Street. You cannot have a genuine American economic revolution or real sovereignty if someone else is setting the price of energy. The Treasury Department has physically increased the supply of oil and gas worldwide in the last 2 weeks, unsanctioning Russian oil, unsanctioning certain Iranian oil, getting worldwide agreements to release reserves. Not only that, Iran is allowing tankers through the strait for India, China, and Japan, Iran's main customers. So the strait is not physically closed, oil supplies are safe, but the strait is financially closed by the City of London and its desperate effort to remain alive as a world power. We don't know the outcome because it is a war, and the Psy war is running at a higher level than I've ever seen it. But we can know the principles the president is fighting for, and those principles make this a just war, which we have to win. At Promethean Action, we're dedicated to ferreting out the real strategic picture as much as we can by focusing on the physical economic side of events. Not many do that. We need to expand. We just passed 500,000 followers on YouTube. Please become a paying member if you haven't already and donate as much as you can. This has been your Monday Update. Thanks for listening. Very invisible new.
Okay, our older ladies' videos. Got a surprise one for you coming up, you guys. Finally. I gotta see which one it's at. Oh, not that one yet. Shoot, where is it? Ah. Where the heck did it go? Hold on. Ah. All right, I guess we gotta wait till I get to it. We're gonna go back down and see where I was. Play. Yeah, she's on. Did we play this yesterday, you guys?
Understand, but I do. But it's simple to fix.
Oh, no, it's not simple to fix in this country because we have a divisiveness that is so blindfolding to the Democratic Party that they literally will not keep America safe. That is what this is about.
Right.
So we care about politics more than protecting our country from illegal immigrants coming in and raping our children or hurting our people.
I don't think I played
that
this
is
one.
literally the priority. They don't even know what the hell they stand for. You know it and I know it. So that's actually what's happening. As to what you spoke about, I agree. We have to get some of these old people out of Senate. I've seen it. I've experienced it, as you know. But the Department of Justice is just trying to, just like Homeland Security, take care of our country. And the fact that you would take money out of these people that they're not making a tremendous amount of money. They have mortgages to pay. They have children to feed. And I've experienced a shutdown myself. It's unacceptable. It's un-American, and they have to fix it.
Yeah, but they want to do it on their terms in the minority, which...
But just remember, Carl, their terms are not the American people's terms. 88 million people voted President Trump in because they were sick and tired of the Democrat Party putting politics ahead of the American people. That's what we saw.
Right.
And now we are trying to get blocked through filibusters, blocked through judges, because they don't actually care about what America wants or feeding people that risk their lives. They don't care about that. They care about politics and whoever the hell they're getting funded.
Well, clearly they don't care. This is actually one of the funnier clips on the internet today. Democrat comes out and blocks a resolution from Senator Kennedy that would stop Congress from getting their own paychecks during a government shutdown. And then he just bounced. He just left. Roll this.
Is there an objection? The objection is heard.
Am I needed, Gary? Someone else. With respect, I want to give my colleague, Senator Schatz, more time. As he objected and left the chamber. Is he coming back? Is he ill? What should I do, Mr. President? Should I give him more time, or should we give Senator Schatz more time to come back? Or
it's just like the guy was like, I object. Out.
Yeah, so I would just love to do that in court one day. Just say, I'd object, but I'm not going to qualify anything I say with any statement. You know what that's called? That's called a lightweight. That's what we call those people. They have no backing. They just object to object. And I want to give Fetterman credit, by the way.
Yeah.
He is truly standing up and saying, look, this is what I was voted for. This is what my actual constituents want. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to take a moment to step up and do what is right for the country, whether it's in line with my party lines or not. Look, we have too many rhinos. We have too many wimps. And if America wants to get things done, we better step up. It's time.
No.
We don't have that much more time.
Oh, 100%. I love the one guy in the Democrat Party, I always say, has recovered from a brain injury, and now he's voting with Republicans.
In a sweatshirt. And I'll take it.
Exactly.
Wear your sweatshirt, but vote.
Look,
let's go.
I'll take the slob look if he's voting the right way.
Fine.
Mazie Hirono, this has got to be the award for the dumbest argument against the SAVE Act. Roll this.
Non-citizen voting in federal elections is already illegal. It is a federal crime. If a non-citizen illegally votes in a federal election, they could be prosecuted and even sentenced up to 5 years in prison.
So why do they care if there at polling places?
Because when you want to lie, cheat, and steal because you can't win, because your policies don't work in this country, you want to infiltrate the country and then allow them to vote. You don't want to have voter registration. You don't want to have accountability. Look, we're seeing this across the board. And as obviously Pam Bondi, senior advisor, I won't speak about investigations, but we've seen things happening. We've seen that there are issues with our voting registration. We've seen us having to go clean up voter rolls. When I was the U.S. attorney, we wanted to clean up. The priority was election integrity.
Right.
Election integrity, it doesn't mean lie, cheat, and steal. It means if you are not able to vote, you don't vote. And anybody like her that stands up in Senate and postures against accountability and making sure that our country is what it is, which is a republic, get out of here. I can't stand behind that.
But the other thing too, like when you were in that position in New Jersey, you had senators come out against you, the blue slip thing, which was total garbage, and like how Democrats blocked you from a presidential appointment, which is his job. And I don't know. I don't know how that works. I don't know why we didn't dump tea in the harbor then, but a new person in that position has been selected and appointed.
Yes, today. Yes, today we have a new U.S. attorney who is going to be taking my seat. I wish him the best, Rob Frazier. He worked with me. He's wonderful. But that was the pick of the president and Pam Bondi, and I'm glad that the judges came to their senses. Listen, the one message I want to say on that to every state across the country, because I was the first one to get into this mumbo jumbo with the blue slips, but it's very simple. Work with the Department of Justice. When the state and the feds work together, we can accomplish great things. And all of these U.S. attorneys, they're mandated by the president and the attorney general. Do not get in our way. We will work with you, but you better pick up the phone and you better stop playing games, because we are just done. It's not effective. The feds need to do what they do, and they should be working with the state. And the faster judges realize that, I truly believe the country will be better. It's not a fight. It's a fight for freedom. It's a fight for safety. You can't get behind that. You shouldn't be in this country.
Yeah, well, hopefully soon we see some perp walks too. That'd be swell.
We're working on it.
I know. All right, Alina.
Okay, Alina there. All right, I found the video, you guys. See if anybody remembers him. Oh. Well, let's do this one, then I'll get to the other one. It's only a minute video.
They can do your taxes for you and get you every dollar you deserve. Local tax experts are here. Hand off your taxes with confidence.
A party at downtown LA restaurant ends with a woman being taken to the hospital with stab wounds.
2 suspects were also taken into custody, and Gigi Graciette is live in downtown with all the details. Gigi.
It was quite the end to a private party yesterday afternoon. Take a look at the video. This clip shared on Citizen app shows the large police and fire presence with multiple victims down in different locations. And there was the search for the suspects. And there were a lot of people who were simply watching all the drama unfold at Zaya Restaurant on 7th in downtown LA. And boy, there was certainly a lot of drama. This morning, we have exclusive new information on what happened as the private party was wrapping up. Apparently, servers brought the party the bill, and that's when sources tell us the fighting started. It was 4:40 in the afternoon, and apparently the all-girl group disagreed on something and started arguing with each other. That's when police confirm one of the women pulled out a knife and another one grabbed a bottle. The war of words quickly escalating into a very dangerous fight. Ultimately, the fire department says they evaluated 5 people at the scene, transporting 4 of them, all women, ages between 26 and 37. They were taken to the hospital with stab wounds. Some were stabbed, police tell us, with a knife. Another person was stabbed with that bottle. The 5th victim, they're just calling her Jane Doe because apparently she did have some cuts to her face, but she just decided to leave the scene. By early evening, police confirmed 2 suspects were arrested. And this morning, those 2 suspects, both women, are still behind bars. They're facing charges of assault with a deadly weapon. And bringing it back here live, we're told that one of the suspects in jail is possibly related to one of the victims in the hospital. That still has to be confirmed. Police have a lot of work to do on this case. Meanwhile, no word on whether or not that bill was ever paid at Zaya Restaurant. Reporting live in downtown.
Wow. over a lousy dinner bill? All right.
Oh my God, it's so good. It ain't that bad. It ain't that bacon ain't that bad. I'm telling you now.
I had to relive the whole thing again. After the prayer ended, we look up to see them taunting us in our faces with bacon.
You know what? I feel for him because
2 minutes only on this one.
Oh my God. Hold on. Oh my God. I'll be mad too.
I had to relive the whole thing
Bacon's
again.
so good I can't even talk. I'll be mad too if somebody was waving bacon in my face and I couldn't eat it. I'll be mad. I'm telling you right now, don't be taunting me with no bacon and knowing I can't even have it. I'll be mad too. See, the problem with y'all need some bacon, okay? That's the problem. That's why these people be running planes in the buildings, blowing up people, blowing up stuff, because they don't eat bacon in the morning. Like when you eat bacon in the morning, bacon don't make you want to blow up nothing. Bacon don't make y'all. And if y'all he crown or white crown, bacon ain't that bad. It's how can I explain the taste? It's almost like meat. I call it meat candy because I can eat bacon all day. Okay, it might raise your cholesterol a little bit, but it ain't gonna kill you. It ain't gonna kill you. But I think that's the problem. They need some bacon. Because I ain't never had no bacon in the morning. It made me want to be a terrorist. No. Bacon don't make you want to be no terrorist. Bacon to have your mind in a whole. You just feel love when you eating bacon. Bacon is like, it's so peaceful when you eat it. You just feel like you in heaven. Okay? Bacon don't make you mad, sad. It don't make you want to blow up nobody. It just make you happy. You know, I want to hug somebody right now because bacon's so good.
He hasn't been out
9 months ago. I'm asking you. That I'm asking you.
3 months, Kay. It's been a long time. He has been out. Yeah. This one's a short one.
Nothing from Europe because they did not know what direction this war is going to end. It was crickets out of Europe. But now you are seeing some of them step up to the plate and say, okay, we're going to support. We are going to get involved. Because now they see America winning and they are betting on America winning. And this is why they're starting now to step up. I'm sure the Europeans right now are shaken because they know they are in the direct attack by Iran if Iran decides to do so. And the Iranians have no compunction about bombing anything. I mean, look, they even launched a bomb at Jerusalem that almost hit the Holy Sepulchre over the weekend. So the European leaders are thinking about that. Here we are getting into spring and summer, the tourist season. Europe depends on tourism. And you do not want any bombs falling on Rome, Paris, or London, or Italy, anywhere. And this is why they're going to step up. And I believe after this weekend, after what happened,
we
you're going to
definitely
see
do
more
not.
involvement from the Europeans. Well, they're starting to step up. At the beginning of the war, we heard nothing from Europe because they did not know what direction this war is going to end. It was crickets out of Europe. But now you are seeing some of them step up to the plate and say, okay, we're going to support. We are going to get involved. Because now they see America winning and they are betting on America winning. And this is why they're starting now to step up. I'm sure the Europeans right now are shaken because they know they are in the direct attack by Iran if Iran decides to do so. And the Iranians have no compunction about bombing anything. I mean, look, they even launched a bomb at Jerusalem that almost hit the Holy Sepulchre over the weekend. So the European leaders are thinking about that. Here we are getting into spring and summer, the tourist season. Europe depends on tourism. And you do not want any bombs falling on Rome, Paris, or London, or Italy, anywhere. And this is why they're going to step up. And I believe after this weekend, after what happened,
we
you're going to
definitely
see
do
more
not.
involvement from the Europeans. Well, they're starting to step up. At the beginning of the war, we heard nothing from Europe because they did not know what direction this war is going to end. It was crickets out of Europe. But now you are seeing some of them step up to the plate and say, okay, we're going to support. We are going to get involved. Because now they see America winning and they are betting on America winning. And this is why they're starting now to step up. I'm sure the Europeans right now are shaken because they know they are in the direct attack by Iran if Iran decides to do so. And the Iranians have no compunction about bombing anything. I mean, look, they even launched a bomb at Jerusalem that almost hit the Holy Sepulchre over the weekend. So the European leaders are thinking about that. Here we are getting into spring and summer, the tourist season. Europe depends on tourism. And you do not want any bombs falling on Rome, Paris, or London, or Italy, anywhere. And this is why they're going to step up. And I believe after this weekend, after what happened,
we
you're going
definitely
to see
do
more
not.
involvement from the Europeans. Well, they're starting to step up.
Okay, that one lady there. Okay, Billy Bean, the first one for today. 14 minutes.
To share. President Trump, the talks continue. What's up with nuke sirens in both the Middle East and the U.S. and the China trip? So let's get started. So we have this information coming out from the White House presser just a few minutes ago that even though we're hearing from Iran that Iran has rejected the 15-point plan that we understand has been put out on the internet, alleged to be the plan being put forth by President Trump for peace between the U.S. and Iran. The White House presser says that 15-point plan that's floating around the internet does contain some of the points President Trump wants, but mostly it does not. So this fake 15-point plan, the IRGC in Iran has come out publicly and said they reject it. And they put forth their own plan, which includes reparations from the U.S. to Iran and international recognition that Iran controls the Strait of Hormuz and can charge up to $2 million per ship for ships to pass through it, even though much of it is international water, and so on. But the presser says President Trump's talks with whoever he's talking with as representing Iran, the talks continue. So today is Wednesday. We understand tomorrow, Thursday, that there's it's being put out that a meeting will take place in Pakistan between Vice President J.D. Vance, Steve Witkoff, and whoever it is who is representing Iran. So that's going on. And we have this. Yeah, we have that sending the 82nd Airborne plus the Marines gives President Trump another option for the U.S. military's prosecution with extreme prejudice in Iran. And that President Trump's idea to send ICE to the airports has resulted in much shorter lines. So some pundits are putting forth, could it be that when ICE showed up, the illegals left the airports? So that's going on. President Trump has, according to the White House presser, rescheduled his trip to China, which would infer that President Trump anticipates that the conflict with Iran will be over with soon. The trip to China is scheduled for May 14 through the 15th. So that's going on. And we have this from Task and Purpose. The Pentagon announced that it has increased the age for U.S. Males and females to enroll in the U.S. Military. It's 42 for most branches, 41 for the Navy. And that the Pentagon, in this new recruitment move, is also going to do away with their previous restrictions if you had convictions for marijuana. We have from Pinball
9 minutes
that it's believed the peace plan being put forth by President Trump may include a 30-day ceasefire. And we have this. Okay, so there's a lot on the internet today to imply that the Middle East and the U.S. are testing their siren systems in the event of a nuclear radiation.
Gardner White is the absolute best place to buy Tempur-Pedic. We have more Tempur-Pedic beds in stock than anyone else. Your perfect fit is ready for as low as $17 a month with no interest. Plus, get a $300 free gift and free same-day delivery. Shop Gardner White for the best selection of Tempur-Pedic.
Exposure. The first one came out from Kuwait, and U.S. Intel is also providing this information. Kuwait last night did have some of their government people on TV talking about radiation leaks, and that the government was giving the people of Kuwait instructions on what to do in the event there was a radiation leak exposure. Stay inside, seal your house, your doors and windows, and wait for official notification to come out of your house. We also last night, so this was on Kuwaiti TV last night, Kuwait's in the Middle East. Last night, we had a testing in Laguna Beach, California, a testing of their warning system. So people are putting things together. Now we have this from Patrick Lancaster debunking that the Kuwait people are going to be exposed to radiation leaks. The government came out and the government of Kuwait came out on Kuwaiti TV to clarify that the nearest nuclear reactor to Kuwait is 240 miles away. So there is little chance that the people of Kuwait would be exposed to radiation from reactors. It appears in Kuwait there was most likely fake news going around and rumors and so forth. So the government of Kuwait came out to reassure the Kuwaiti people. And with regard to the siren system being tested in Laguna Beach, California, they had posted on their official site a 5-day notice about March 18 that they would test the system on March 23. So we see much ado, it appears, about nothing substantial. Now, I would like to point this out. In my last video, there did appear to be reliable sources that it could have been Iran who hit the Valero refinery in Port Arthur, Texas. This is being also downplayed, but that's going on. We have from Ward Carroll, the 82nd and the Marines going to Iran, give President Trump more options, and that the amphibious ship Tripoli that had been traveling from Japan. Tripoli is one of the amphibious ships that will bring in the Marines, is now at Diego Garcia. Diego Garcia is a small island midway between Iran and India, where the U.S. has a strategic military base. But one of the other amphibious ships coming from California won't be there for another 10 to 12 days. And it's believed that the Marines and the 82nd includes Rangers, Delta, SEALs, and so forth, Special Forces, will make up a combined force of an additional 6,000. So that's going on. And as I pointed out, President Trump has rescheduled his trip to China May 14 to 15, which would imply he believes this Iran conflict will be settled well before then. We have this from 2CTV this morning. Iran came out on their TV and said the IRGC rejects the 15-point plan. And as I've pointed out from the White House presser, the 15-point plan that's on the internet is not the official White House plan. So at any rate, the IRGC, who are paramilitary and not knowledgeable in geopolitics nor in government operations, said they reject what they saw on the internet. And the IRGC came out and said their peace plan. Oh, we demand reparations from the U.S. We want to control the Strait of Hormuz and charge $2 million per ship. We want the world to recognize that. We want the U.S. to agree forever not to hit Iran again. And then Iran also had another IRGC spokesperson come out on their TV and say, yeah, the IRGC, we're going to get in the Persian Gulf and we may invade the UAE and Bahrain from the Persian Gulf. Now, we know that the U.S. military has already sank 130 plus Iranian Navy ships, plus 11 Iranian submarines, plus 30 and increasing in number of Iran's speedboats. And we've heard from sources saying the IRGC and the Iranian military are afraid to get into the Gulf of the Persian Gulf because they don't want to be shot out of the water. And yet they had someone coming on Iranian TV saying, yeah, and we're going to, take control of the Strait of Hormuz, and we may invade from the Persian Gulf, the UAE and Bahrain. Well, I would like to know, is he not aware that the U.S. military has already destroyed the Iran Navy? So that's going on. We have people who in Iran allegedly representing the government who are out of touch with the real world. And we have this. So we see that things are going on in Iran, again, with a paramilitary posing as the government. And we have President Trump making a public statement via the White House presser that just took place a few minutes ago, that President Trump continues to be in talks with Iran. So this concludes my flash. I love you, and I'll see you soon.
Okay, we got 2 in. So I'm feeling a lot better doing that one full show. So I'm going to probably go to 6 o'clock. So I want to play this 47-minute one, the one that does the intel with the words. It's a good video. I'm going to say that for last. I got 8 videos, 8 short ones I got. But we got someone just came out with a new one, 4 minutes, Lucy.
Question I want to mention to TikTok. Maybe they'll pay attention to it. I doubt it. Hey, TikTok, since you know who all the liberal creators are because you promote all their stuff all the time, how about you put an option at the top of the FYP on your page to block all liberals? MAGA would love that. And I'm sure that if you put a same option to block MAGA, liberals would love that too. I would love to know that the only people that are engaging with me are people that are like-minded. I get so tired of posting something that's completely nothing to do with politics. Let's say a cat video. Here come the liberals running to my page with their stupid insults, because that's all they know. There's no creative thinking. There's no coming back from what you say. It's just the constant insults. We're sick of it, okay? Second thing is, Hakeem Jeffries, I don't know why they can't lock you up. I don't know what's wrong with our laws, but they need to change. If you haven't seen what Hakeem Jeffries has said about the ICE agents, you need to go look it up. Hakeem Jeffries, you should be arrested. You should be arrested for trying to incite violence and unaliving, because you basically said ICE agents are going to murder you. They're going to unalive you at the airport. They're going to shoot you in the face. Now, I don't know how long this video is going to stay up. I know that there's liberals on here that say much worse, and their stuff just gets promoted left and right. Hakeem Jeffries, you basically got on national television and told the loonies, which you want to do, to unalive ICE agents. Let me tell you what. You guys want the destruction of America so you can rebuild it the way you want. You want illegals to come into the country so they'll vote for you and you can stay in power. You have security. You have armed guards. You have people escorting you to the airport. You have people protecting you at all times. So what do you care if illegals come in the country and continually unalive people? Remember the little 18-year-old girl in Chicago? Do you know how many people are unalived? And for all you people that come back at me and say, how many people do white people unalive? Well, you know what? Those white people were supposed to be here. The people that were unalived by the illegals, in case you're not getting it, would still be here if the illegals were not here. I know that's hard to comprehend. For everybody that still wants somebody to come in the country that you don't know shit about their background, and then they unalive somebody. Why are your doors not unlocked and your windows open with a big fat fucking sign that says, welcome all to my home. Please make yourself at home. Why are you not doing that? There's no way that anybody with an ounce of sense wants people in their home that they don't know nothing about. The only reason is control and power. If they can get enough illegals in this country to vote for them, they can stay in power forever. And that's why they give all the free stuff to these people. So that's what I wanted to talk about today. I also wanted to say, does anybody I'll be honest, I don't understand really on the Save America Act. Are we supposed to have a birth certificate? I'm unclear about that. I'm trying to look into it. If you have to have a birth certificate and you don't know where your birth certificate is, I suggest right now getting online, going to the health department where you were born in that county and figure out a way to get a birth certificate. Do not wait and put this off. November will be here in a second. Do you hear me? And we have to vote. If we lose the midterms, I do think that's it for us. They're going to impeach Trump. They're going to go after every Republican you know. They're going to do everything they can to destroy this country. It's over. So you have to vote. But TikTok, I hope you listen to me. Oh, and by the way, anybody that talks about Trump in a positive way, have y'all noticed if you have over 10,000 followers, have you noticed the little banner that comes across your video says not eligible for recommendation? You can't get paid on anything where you talk about Trump in a positive way. We see you, TikTok. We know what you're doing, and we will remember, okay? And the rest of you guys have.
Yep, I can't get monetized either. So JJ, those videos I sent you on Telegram, those good ones. I found her again. She was off her. I couldn't find her.
About his girlfriend, Alexis Wilkins. I wouldn't have really started to look into her, except that she sued 3 pretty credible people for defamation, claiming that she was a quote-unquote honeypot. And the law firm representing her in these $5 million apiece lawsuits is the Bunnell law firm. And they represented, Jessica Bunnell, who's the founder, represented Trump in the 2020 election Nevada thing. So how did she get in touch with these lawyers? Because they're not doing pro bono work. And homegirl is 27-year-old country singer. I say that very fucking lightly. For her to sue these 3 people for defamation, for claiming that she's a honeypot or just talking about it, I was like, now I do have to look into her. And everything that I read about her on the internet, about how she was raised and her dad, yeah, well, it turns out not true when I investigated it. So let's go. I spent my career at the CIA and NSA and also advised other intelligence agencies. I now have my own corporate intelligence firm. All of these opinions are my own. This analysis is my own for entertainment purposes only. You can only do so much in a 5-minute TikTok, so you can go over to my Substack and find the full investigation with sources, proof, everything. I'm putting it up today. Also launching my podcast there next week. And I created a Follow the Money investigation toolkit so that my sleuths can go do Follow the Money and learn how to trace this yourself. The link is in my bio. Thank you all so much for your support. Alexis Wilkins is a 27-year-old country singer. She entered the conservative pipeline in 2020. She did some time as an ambassador at TPUSA. She also worked at PragerU, and they hosted her podcast. For those who don't know, because I'm investigating TPUSA and PragerU. PragerU, the CEO, she's former IDF, 8200, the elite cyber group over there. I'll do a TikTok on them. Anyway, it was interesting that Alexis Wilkins did time there. And then she did some other short stints. She was on the board of the NRA and worked in the White House, all again, very short, like 1 to 2 months. And I think that's strange behavior. The story that we are told on the internet is that she was raised by a father who was a veteran of the Korean War. He was in the Navy and she heard his stories. And that is where she found her soft spot for supporting veterans. She was just a small town Arkansas girl who loves country music, and her dad's dad escaped Armenian genocide and came here. Just wholesome girl. It turns out it's a fucking lie. First red flag was that her dad's name was Jeff Wilkins. And I was like, well, Wilkins is not an Armenian name. So I started pulling the thread. This is why you can't believe everything on the internet. So many articles were saying this. Nice story curated, but it's not true. And Alexis Wilkins is 27 years old, and she's an only child. So if her dad was in the Korean War, the math wasn't mathing to me. Turns out her mom's dad was the one that was in the Korean War. Her mom's dad is the one whose dad came over to escape the Armenian genocide, not her father. Her father is a corporate executive. She was actually raised in England and Switzerland. She went to the boarding school on Lake Geneva in Switzerland that cost $113,000 a year. And then they moved to Arkansas when he was with Procter & Gamble because he's leading the Walmart account there. I only found this because I ended up finding her grandfather's obituary. And in her grandfather's obituary, it listed Alexis, Jeff, and the mom. And that is the only place that I found her mother. She's nowhere. She is nowhere on the internet. If you are a normal civilian, not in the intel world, and you have no online presence, well, that's a red flag for me because it just screams intel. I'm not saying that she's intel. I don't know anything about her because I can't find her anywhere on the internet. I'm just saying that behavior's weird. Other things that I found weird, again, you can go on my Substack to look at the deep dive of this because there is a lot. She also had a bunch of LLCs. So starting in 2020, she started creating LLCs. One was a clothing company. She didn't pay her taxes. Two of them are not in good standing, but they're all connected to the same address. But 6 months after she started dating Kash Patel, well, she started Alexis Wilkins LLC, June of 2023. In the end, this woman is 20 years younger than the FBI director, worked at TPUSA and PragerU, now is allegedly getting SWAT teams to protect her because she gets death threats. Bitch, I get death threats on the daily too. Doesn't mean you get to use our tax dollars for it. We don't care about you. You're a normal person like us. And uses a private jet and gets flown around, allegedly. All right, allegedly. In fact, the jets of the FBI is rumored that when Charlie Kirk was assassinated, the reason that the investigation couldn't start was because those jets were off doing things with Kosh and Miss Alexis. But that's just a rumor, so don't quote me on that. Stay tuned.
Okay, our one lady there on TikTok, former C word. I got a 3-minute one, and I'm going to play 2 more of her. I had 6 of them. I might be off 6, I don't know. I want to try to get that 47-minute one. Texas, okay.
Unique situation. Welcome to the We Oncast, where we explore fascinating stories and ideas from various fields. In this episode, we explore a dramatic fireball event over Texas, where a blazing meteor lit up the sky before fragments slammed into a house, leaving behind shock and mystery. What unfolded next turned an ordinary evening into a moment of sudden cosmic intrusion. A loud, meteoric or sonic boom was reported in Houston, Texas, on Saturday, March 21st, 2026. The Brenham Fire Department said that it received reports of an explosion on Highway 50, but could not find any supporting evidence. The department reported that several witnesses reported a green flash fall from the sky, black smoke, and heard a loud boom. A suspected meteorite reportedly crashed through the roof of a woman's home, leaving a hole. The resident has been identified as Sherry James. James said that the rock managed to hit her daughter's room and ricocheted back from the floor, hit the roof again, and settled on the bed. No one was home during that time, so no one got hurt. James also said that she contacted the Ponderosa Fire Department for help. The captain confirmed that he responded to James's call. The team, on reaching the spot, found an unusual rock. The rock was football-sized and black in color. The team at first could not confirm whether it was a projectile from other activities, such as construction or trees. The American Meteor Society documented what it is calling a fireball event over Texas on Saturday, after receiving more than 100 reports. NASA has since confirmed there was a meteor that first became visible 49 miles above Stagecoach, a small town northwest of Houston.
Anybody hear about
It moved
that?
southeast at 35,000 miles per hour, breaking apart 29 miles above Bammel, just west of Cypress Station. The fragmentation of the meteor, which weighed about a ton with a diameter of 3 feet, created a pressure wave that caused booms heard by some in the area, the space agency mentioned in a social media post. This incident follows a similar large meteor event reported in Lake Erie, Ohio, just a few days ahead on March 17th, 2026. Thanks for tuning.
Okay. 4-minute one coming up from This was on the 23rd. I can't remember if we played these two parts or not.
One video a day. That's how we're going to celebrate. I mean, is it really roasting if it's true? No. But my career at the CIA and NSA, and also advised other intelligence agencies. I now have my own intelligence firm. All of these opinions are my own. This analysis is my own for entertainment purposes only. You can see my full write-ups, deep dives, everything on Substack. I've done one about aligning behaviors to assets over there if you want to go check it out. We are also launching a podcast over there next week. It will be a video podcast, and I'm very excited about it. So if you haven't already, please head over there. That link is in my bio. All right, so Erica Kirk's touring with JD Vance. I do not know how Usha is putting up with this shit, to be honest. I'd be like, get away from my man, you fucking troll. And I would be like, husband, what are you doing? You're tanking your political career by aligning yourself to that loony bin. But they're not going to listen to us, are they? I don't know who's advising them, because the only person that makes any sense over there is Susie Wiles. I was going to pick a chief of staff. That bitch would be my chief of staff. I promise you that. I am hoping that she is like, hey, Bozo, what are you doing? What are you doing? You need to not align yourself with Erica Kirk. I digress. Here's the thing. Erica Kirk flew her little happy ass over to Arkansas, met with Sarah Huckabee Sanders at the governor's mansion, and they hugged. Erica gave that terrible speech where she said that don't let anyone make you feel like a disenfranchised white male. Baby, no fucking white male thinks they're disenfranchised. Sarah Huckabee's like, I'm going to put a TPOSA in every high school. And Erica Kirk, because this hasn't been talked about a lot, but she went and met with the chapters. She met with the University of Arkansas chapter. She met with other chapters while she was there. And something happened. And a few days after she left, the largest chapter, the University of Arkansas, unanimously voted to leave TPUSA and start their own thing because they think TPUSA is using a dead man's name to move.
Finishing off this one, I want to end it with that one guy that does the words. It's 47 minutes. The one I think that was a good one.
An agenda that he wouldn't even recognize. That's pretty telling. And the fact that they didn't say, hey, let's take a step back. You know, Erica Kirk, you're the CEO and chairman of the board who's supposed to keep the CEO in check, which is literally unheard of and so bad in a corporate structure, but whatever. Instead of doing that, they were like, we're going to double down and we're going to go to more universities. We're going to put this bitch in front of more universities. I truly do want to know if you support Erica Kirk, if you are still, I stan Erica Kirk, everyone else who's showing proof is off their rocker. I have to know why. Put it in the comments. I get bullied in all of my Erica Kirk videos, so I know y'all are out there trolling. So tell me why you support her. That's all I want to know, because I cannot fathom what is going on in people's brains. I have 2 children who will be able to vote in the next election. Okay? They have one of the biggest TPUSA chapters at their high school. They go to the TPUSA meetings to learn about what they're saying. And I love that. I want my children to know what is happening in politics. I do not care how they vote. And I actually want them to not vote party lines. Be educated in your decision. And that's what they're doing. Most of their friends are super left, psycho left. So I'm very proud of them for going to these events and learning. However, I will not allow a hypocrite to come and put any sort of information into how my daughters should be, act, what they should do, because in previous years, you were dating, you were talking about X, you were literally just a partier, which is cool. I don't care. I don't judge. I was too. But when it's not cool is when now you're acting like, oh, you have to dress a certain way and you have to do this. Bitch, no. You don't get to prance around in your little bikini and then come and tell high school girls what they should do and think and say with their lives. This video is getting long. Stay tuned for my birthday week.
Oh, her birthday week. She's another good one. Okay, the last one's going to be 47. This was yesterday's.
26. The latest video will be shown earlier at the official website yourdailyblog.com. Judy note, the satanic elite have run the world for ages through blackmail ops, secret societies and cults, with MK Ultra psychological warfare operations and a belief in occult ritualistic practices that involve the torture, sexual abuse and human sacrifice of children to their god Satan. Recently declassified intel has revealed that former U.S. Presidents Clinton and Obama, along with their spouses, not only were Satan worshippers who founded ISIS for the purpose of destroying America, but were using U.S. taxpayer dollars to run a massive international child sex trafficking, child sacrificing, adrenochrome and organ harvesting ring that blackmailed politicians to do their bidding. Meanwhile, Venezuela's Maduro has openly linked 60 U.S. senators to multi-million bribe allegations including voter fraud. These treasonous crimes were on top of everyone's involvement in money laundering U.S. taxpayer monies back into their own pockets. Over 80% of Congress held dual citizenship, betraying America for foreign masters. This fueled replacement agendas flooding borders with Muslims and illegals gaining instant passports and voter access while veterans suffer in New York paid fortunes per migrant to erase white populations. It's no wonder a person like Donald Trump was asked to take on the overwhelming task of the Q plan to save the world. Trump was secretly working hand in hand with the Ayatollah, purging the CIA and Mossad terrorists planted inside Iran. The knockout blow against the satanic Zionist regime in Israel was coming fast and it would end their dark control forever. Fake Jews operating as Luciferians through the Rothschild banking empire now face total exposure. Trump knew that success of that plan to save the world goal depended on the people taking back control of that Luciferian Rothschild banking empire of the global monetary system, which the Satanist cabal had used for their own evil purposes since at least 1913. The Q victory actually started on Friday, February 20, 2026 when Congress passed Public Law No. 119-1, the Quantum Financial Settlement and Restoration Act. The act provided for the mandatory transition of the fiat US dollar financial structure to the gold/asset-backed quantum financial system, QFS, on Wednesday, April 1, 2026. A month or so later, by Saturday, March 21, 2026, President Trump had secretly dissolved the privately owned since 1913 by Satan-worshipping Illuminati bankers, U.S. Incorporated, while re-establishing the United States of America as a sovereign constitutional republic under God and common law by authority of Article 2 of the U.S. Constitution. The re-establishment of the constitutional republic officially ended the Federal Reserve, IRS and use of admiralty law in the U.S. court system. Foreign rule was no more, all of which was set to be announced by Trump on Sunday, May 17, 2026. After which there would be 45 days of prayer ending with the Saturday, July 4, 2026 150th anniversary celebration of the constitutional republic that has now been re-established under God. Temporary martial law has been in effect in the U.S. since 2020, with Trump as Commander-in-Chief of the Global Military Alliance. That same martial law will last until new, fair and free elections could be held. Those free and fair elections would happen in the U.S. within 90 days of the Wednesday, April 1, 2026 release of Nizar Jazara funds to the worldwide general public under the BRICS nations' global currency reset. Presently 10 to 12 days of darkness worldwide was in effect in order for the Global Military Alliance to make millions of mass arrests of treasonous Satan-worshipping, child trafficking, torturing and sacrificing bankers, politicians and global elites. During the worldwide communication darkness, the 209 BRICS nations will switch to the new gold/asset-backed quantum financial system, all happening by Wednesday, April 1, 2026. The world's communication networks were in the process of shutting down, one after another, as the Global Military Alliance temporarily took over all TV, radio and internet. Be prepared for EBS activation and martial law. 1 million white hat troops stand guard as the EBS Starlink satellite system overrides all signals, cell phones, TV, radio and internet, asking you to stay at home for 10 to 12 days while Global Military Alliance makes mass arrests across the globe of treasonous Satan-worshipping deep state. Banks close. ATMs won't work. After which wake up to new and improved financial, political, health and education systems. Stock up on food, water, cash and essentials. Possible timing as of Saturday, March 21, 2026. The de facto corporate fiat debt-based monetary system known as the Federal Reserve, Central banking cartel has been permanently dissolved. The quantum financial system, asset-backed, satellite-secured, immutable ledger monetary architecture, has assumed primary control of all Tier 1 to 4 settlement rails worldwide, EBS. Donald Trump on Telegram on Monday, March 23, 2026. 107 confirmed the below schedule for the final activation phase, signaling the storm is upon us as Donald Trump restores the republic via the global currency reset. On Wednesday, March 25, 2026, the global currency reset ignites the gold-backed quantum financial system in 209 nations. Trump ripped the Fed from the cabal. It's now in the sovereign U.S. Treasury. NISRA/JSARA fully enacted with no income tax and new 14% sales tax on goods. Deep state melting as military raids their pedophile rings, sending elites to Gitmo. The children are saved at last from these monsters. On Friday, March 27, 2026, banks begin the QFS transition. Patriots stock food, cash, water and essentials right away. On Friday night, March 27, 2026, Trump to drop an announcement that will shock the world. President Donald Trump Tier 4B ISO 20022 on Telegram. On Saturday, March 28, 2026, a 48-hour blackout countdown begins where banks will go dark for the next 10 days. On Monday, March 30, 2026, the 10 days of darkness begin. Starlink EBS exposes cabal crimes, fraud and child trafficking by elites in Hollywood. Martial law locks down pedophile arrests worldwide. Fake Biden regime ends as Republic returns. On Wednesday, April 1, 2026, the global currency reset and NISRA/JSARA laws will activate. Debt forgiveness frees all from slavery. Gold currencies bring prosperity to the people. Each individual will receive texts and emails to notify how to set an appointment at an official redemption center to set up your personal wallet, formerly known as a bank account. You will be given a one-time secure code, instructions for wallet activation, confirmation of debt wipe status and access to your own sovereign fund dashboard. On Friday, April 3, 2026, President Trump will tweet on X, formerly known as Twitter, where will he say, "My fellow Americans, the storm is upon us. God bless." The EBS broadcast tribunals revealing the satanic Khazarian mafia. Trump and white hats crush the globalists completely, Mr. Pool 2.0 on Telegram. On Monday, April 6, 2026, JSARA wealth drops and Zim redemptions fund humanitarian projects ending cabal poverty schemes. On Wednesday, April 8, 2026, medbeds activate healing the damages from their poisons. On Saturday, April 11, 2026, global QFS streams fully operational, ending central bank control. On Monday, April 13, 2026, free medbed access expands everywhere. On Thursday, April 16, 2026, Trump delivers epic address unveiling QFS rebirth during independence celebrations. The cabal traitors are trapped and their empire is destroyed. Justice rains down on the pedophiles and traitors in power. Hidden underground facilities are being liberated. The Great Awakening shakes the planet as truth bombs drop. Patriots, the Republic is reborn. WWG Wonga. This is the moment Q predicted. The white hats have the cabal cornered with no escape. Every patriot must stand ready as the truth sets us all free from their tyranny forever. B. Global currency reset. On Wednesday, March 25, 2026, the global currency reset ignites the gold-backed quantum financial system in 209 nations. Trump ripped the Fed from the cabal. It's now in the sovereign U.S. Treasury. NISRA/JSARA fully enacted with no income tax and new 14% sales tax on goods. Deep state melting as military raids their pedophile rings, sending elites to Gitmo. The children are saved at last from these monsters. On Friday, March 27, 2026, banks begin the QFS transition. Patriots stock food, cash, water and essentials right away. On Friday night, March 27, 2026, Trump to drop an announcement that will shock the world. President Donald Trump Tier 4B ISO 20022 on Telegram. Wednesday, April 1, 2026, Trump has approved the QFS as the primary financial system. Global activation now targets April 2026. On 1st of April, the global currency reset and NISRA/JSARA laws will activate. Debt forgiveness frees all from slavery. Gold currencies bring prosperity to the people. Each individual will receive texts and emails to notify how to set an appointment at an official redemption center to set up your personal wallet, formerly known as a bank account. You will be given a one-time secure code, instructions for wallet activation, confirmation of debt wipe status and access to your own sovereign fund dashboard. Judy note, we have been told that Wells Fargo, which was owned by the Chinese elders, the ones who own the gold behind the global currency reset, will send out emails to currency and bondholders worldwide telling them how to set redemption and exchange appointments. It is advised to exchange/redeem your foreign currency at an official redemption center, RC, rather than a bank. You can only redeem ZIM at RC. The dinar contract rate can only be given at RC, and banks will offer you lower exchange rates than what you can obtain at RC. You can only set up your new wallet, bank account, at RC. It was my understanding that most banks were under control of the cabal and would soon play a different role in a global financial system. C. Saturday, March 21, 2026 breaking update. President Trump declares the restoration of the American Republic, U.S. Incorporated dissolved, common law sovereignty returns, JFK the leader on Telegram. In a stunning and historic declaration that patriots have awaited for years, President Donald J. Trump has officially announced the restoration of the American Republic. The corrupt corporate entity known as U.S. Incorporated has been dissolved completely, ending its foreign control over the nation. Common law sovereignty has returned in full, re-establishing the true constitutional republic and freeing the people from decades of tyranny. This monumental move, issued on March 21, 2026, is grounded in the authority of Article 2 of the U.S. Constitution. President Trump has summoned all flag officers of the armed forces, binding them under the Uniform Code of Military Justice to follow the Commander-in-Chief. Without question, corrupt civilian channels are bypassed as the military realigns to protect the reborn republic with unwavering loyalty. The fraudulent structure of U.S. Incorporated, created to enslave Americans with debt and endless conflicts, is now defunct. Admiralty law is dead, and the globalist occupation has collapsed. The deep state is legally overthrown as power flows back to we the people. This is the Great Awakening in action, with the White Hats executing the final phase of the plan to secure America's destiny. Patriots across the land are rising up in celebration as the storm arrives in full force. The cabal is in complete panic, their empire of lies crumbling rapidly. With this declaration, the path opens for massive reforms, including prosperity distributions and the dismantling of oppressive institutions. Every sovereign citizen will soon experience true freedom and abundance like never before. The Republic stands reborn stronger than ever under President Trump's leadership. No more manipulation by hidden powers. Common law brings justice and liberty for all. The military stands guard to ensure a smooth transition, exposing and bringing to account those who betrayed the nation. This victory belongs to all who fought in the shadows and held the faith. As the news spreads like wildfire among truth seekers, the excitement cannot be contained. The restoration signals the end of the old guard and the dawn of a golden age for America. United patriots must stay vigilant and spread this truth far and wide. The best is yet to come as the Republic thrives once again, delivering on the promises of freedom and sovereignty for generations. D2s. March 10, 2026 bombshell announcement. President Trump declares restoration of the American Republic, U.S. Incorporated dissolved, common law sovereignty returns. Mr. Pool on Telegram. Patriots, the storm has hit and it's magnificent. President Donald J. Trump has invoked Article 2 to declare the United States fully sovereign under common law once more. The fake foreign-controlled U.S. Incorporated is finished, dissolved, dead, gone forever. No more Admiralty law oppression, no more globalist chains dragging us into debt and war. The deep state grip is broken. The true constitutional republic rises triumphant. This is no mere rhetoric, it's a binding declaration of authority and summons from Trump as Commander-in-Chief. He's seizing full control, sidelining the corrupt swamp and directing the military via the Uniform Code of Military Justice. Every flag officer is oath-bound to obey lawful orders from the legitimate president. No more excuses, no divided allegiances. The military now serves we the people through Trump, not the treasonous corporate facade. Under common law sovereignty, grounded in God-given rights and original founding truths, Trump exercises his prerogative to summon leaders, affirm real authority, and rebuild national defense. This resets America to the founders' vision. No commercial enslavement, no hidden British shadows, just pure liberty. All flag officers are ordered to convene in Virginia, the Republic's sacred cradle, for immediate realignment. This is full military mobilization to restore loyalty and eliminate globalist remnants. The timeline is set, orders issued, clock running. Unity under true command is happening now. Foreign-tied overseas bases and Commonwealth-linked tops. They're being shut down or reclaimed for America. No more secret outposts serving alien masters, no covert pacts bleeding us dry. Trump is smashing the centuries-old crown chokehold on trade and power. And the military reset locks it down. This fulfills Trump's sacred oath to defend the Constitution, protect the people, and preserve the Republic. Every officer and servant must choose, stand with the restored Republic or stand exposed as oath breakers. The line is drawn, no more shadows, no two Americas. One Republic. One Commander-in-Chief. One law, common law. Quanons, white hats, digital warriors, this is our victory moment. The debt-based, deception-driven U.S. incorporated fraud is overthrown. Military mobilizes under Trump's unbreakable command. Deep state cabal legally crushed, illusions collapsing. Freedom surges back, the Republic is back, sovereign, unbreakable. We witness history, true American Republic restored. Patriots win. God bless President Trump, our military, and the sovereign United States of America. Wars, wars and rumors of wars. Monday, March 23, 2026. Iran is moving to profit from its control of the Strait of Hormuz by deciding who may pass through the waterway and potentially charging up to $2 million per tanker, according to Iranian sources cited by CNN. Monday, March 23, 2026. Exclusive, Ayatollah fled to Russia, IRGC has taken control. March 23, 2026. Fox News, U.S. forces have bombed the Natanz Iranian nuclear site, where they enrich uranium-235. Monday, March 23, 2026. Trump signals final phase, U.S. nears objectives as Iran's capabilities collapse. Ezra A. Cohen on Telegram. President Donald Trump has announced that the United States is approaching the final stage of its military objectives in the ongoing conflict with Iran, stating that operations are nearing full completion. The update comes as U.S. forces continue sustained pressure across multiple domains. Recent reports indicate that Iran's naval capacity has been significantly reduced, its operational structure disrupted, and its ability to project force beyond its borders sharply limited. Air and strike operations remain active, with momentum clearly on the U.S. side. The final phase of the operation. According to the latest statements, the mission has focused on dismantling key military capabilities, including naval assets, missile systems, and infrastructure tied to regional influence. The objective has been clear: reduce Iran's ability to threaten stability and limit its reach across strategic zones. With those targets nearing completion, discussions have begun around scaling down major military activity. Shift in global energy security strategy. One of the most significant signals in Trump's statement is a shift in responsibility regarding the Strait of Hormuz, one of the world's most critical oil transit routes. Trump made it clear that the United States does not intend to carry the long-term burden of securing global energy flows alone. Instead, responsibility is expected to shift toward nations that rely most heavily on these routes, including countries across Europe and Asia. This marks a major policy shift, from long-term U.S. enforcement to shared or regional responsibility. Timeline and military impact. The conflict, which escalated in late February 2026, has progressed rapidly. Within weeks, U.S. operations have targeted and reduced naval threats, disrupted missile and drone capabilities, and applied sustained air pressure across key zones despite volatility in global energy markets. With oil prices rising during peak tensions, the strategic focus has remained on completing core objectives rather than short-term economic reactions. A strategic reset. This approach signals a broader shift in U.S. military and foreign policy strategy, reducing prolonged commitments while maintaining decisive, high-impact operations. Rather than extended presence, the focus appears to be rapid objective completion, limited long-term entanglement, and rebalancing global responsibility. Final take. Iran's military capabilities are significantly degraded. U.S. objectives are nearing completion. A transition phase is beginning. The message is clear: the operation is approaching its end and the strategy beyond it is already being defined. Guru Information and Intel H. Monday, March 23, 2026. Charlie Ward Dyer warning. March 19, 2026. Exposing the whole damn shit storm. Media Greer, Charlie Ward on Telegram. Charlie Ward has dropped a dire warning that is shaking the very foundations of the evil empire. The entire global system of police, judges, barristers, solicitors and intelligence agencies stands exposed as one massive criminal network protecting the worst pedophiles at the highest levels of power. A retired police commissioner handed over a shocking dossier naming 350 serving UK Parliament members deep in pedophilia. It went straight to Trump's team years ago. They already had it and waited for the perfect moment. These monsters faced secret military tribunals back in 2021 and 2022 during the lockdowns when it was easy to round them up. Now we watch actors and clones play their roles in public, including Prince Andrew, all to gently wake the sleeping masses without panic. The royal family was crumbling before our eyes. King Charles, tied forever to Jimmy Savile, has been stripped of almost every title while the clones glitch on camera to jolt everyone awake. Police forces run as private profit companies splitting fines with corrupt officials instead of protecting citizens. Trump's white hats infiltrated the UK system nearly 10 years ago, mapping every good cop against the rotten tops. Grooming gangs and elite child trafficking rings involving politicians and judges were shielded until the real bosses fell. Patriots, this whole nightmare unfolds as one giant movie pantomime for the public to finally see. Sit back with your popcorn because the final act is here. The Ayatollah works hand in hand with Trump, purging the CIA and Mossad terrorists planted inside Iran. The knockout blow against the satanic Zionist regime in Israel is coming fast. And it will end their dark control forever. Fake Jews operating as Luciferians through the Rothschild banking empire face total exposure right now. Disney tunnels, Branson networks, Epstein Islands and the Madeleine McCann files all hide the same horror: child sacrifice, adrenochrome harvesting and ritual abuse on a scale that will make you sick. Michael Jackson built Neverland as a safe haven to protect kids from these monsters and they destroyed him for it. Light is flooding every dark corner. The Great Awakening surges stronger than ever. QAnons, the white hats already secured victory years ago and justice for every stolen child arrives swiftly. The storm rages but we triumph. Gold-backed systems will smash the banker enslavement once and for all. Everything turns out more than all right. God and the Patriots win. The cabal is finished. On Monday, March 23, 2026, Trump's 5D chess masterstroke, SGAnon, lays bare the total annihilation of the cabal's oil empire in Iran, sparking the final deep state collapse. 10 Days of Darkness on Telegram. SGAnon recently teamed up with Nino for a hard-hitting analysis of the explosive situation in the Middle East. Iranian oil installations including the critical South Pars gas field have suffered direct hits, leading to warnings of oil prices surging to extreme highs. At the same time, mounting evidence points to Benjamin Netanyahu being removed from power, with the deep state scrambling to spread lies and confusion. These targeted actions are obliterating the Rockefeller, Rothschild, CIA-controlled energy networks that have dominated the planet for decades, by destroying physical infrastructure and key facilities. In Qatar, Saudi Arabia and other areas, the globalists are losing their main weapon for holding sovereign nations hostage. This is forcing a powerful decentralization movement where countries break free and build self-reliant systems. President Trump is directing this with unparalleled brilliance. He has just greenlit a new oil refinery in Texas set to open this year, the first in more than 50 years, as part of a fierce drill baby drill campaign to achieve total American energy independence. Tariffs rolled out earlier have fortified the economy against chaos, proving his long-term preparation for these events. CIA strongholds and shadow operators are being wiped out across Iran and the Gulf states. Sweeping arrests of hundreds of embedded Western assets in Tehran are exposing the satanic infestation running the country since 1979. Similar cleanups in neighboring nations are tearing apart the multi-headed deep state hydra once and for all. In America, the momentum for justice is unstoppable. James Comey now faces subpoenas for his central role in treasonous plots against Trump. Seized election machines from key locations are unraveling years of fraud, setting the stage for military tribunals that will bring down Obama and the entire criminal network. This brilliant operation has neutralized the globalist plan for World War III and nuclear disaster through Iran. Prophetic elements around holy sites and temples are emerging, but they backfire on the Luciferians, exposing their manipulations. Russia is strengthened while the Federal Reserve gasps its last breaths. Q patriots know the truth. The New World Order is in its death throes. Trump the genius is dismantling everything with precision. Mass arrests of elite traitors are imminent as external threats dissolve. The Great Awakening is victorious and a new age of sovereign freedom rises from the ashes of the old empire. The old energy monopolies are burning away, clearing space for innovation and true prosperity. Warriors, hold fast as more shocks reveal the plan. Nothing can stop what is coming for the deep state. Victory belongs to the people. Monday, March 23, 2026, bombshell alert, the Great Reset is here. Trump's global military alliance launches mass arrests worldwide during 10 days of darkness as the U.S. escapes the cabal's debt slavery machine forever. Media Greer on Telegram. The Great Reset the cabal planned has been hijacked by President Trump and White Hats. Events in Iran, Venezuela, Cuba, Brazil, EU, UK and Ukraine expose the deep state's satanic agenda. Iran was their terror hub for weapons of mass destruction and global networks. Trump destroyed their plans by controlling the Strait of Hormuz. The U.S. is no longer the cabal debt machine. Martial law approaches. Patriots prepare food, cash and essentials for 10 to 12 days of lockdown as Trump's global military alliance conducts mass arrests worldwide. The Starlink emergency broadcast system will override all media, exposing the full satanic Illuminati crimes against humanity. Clinton estate raids revealed massive tunnels linked to the White House with child cages and ritual blood altars. Hillary ran a demonic child network tied to the Vatican Ninth Circle cult involving Pope Soros, Queen Elizabeth and Hollywood elites and horrific sacrifices. Mass graves in Canada, Ireland, Spain hold over 350,000 murdered children. White Hats force total exposure now. Thousands of pedophiles arrested daily as domes collapse and millions of children rescued. Epstein CIA networks fall with British monarchy, Hollywood, Vatican and Rothschild. Trump recovers trillions stolen through new task force. Quantum financial system launches ending Federal Reserve forever. NISRA brings debt forgiveness, IRS abolition and prosperity payments. Corporate U.S. Incorporated dissolves as true constitutional republic restores under common law. Strikes eliminate Iran threats and Obama-Biden treason. 10 days of darkness brings full disclosure. Med beds heal vaccine victims as prosperity funds arrive soon. Prepare supplies and trust the plan. Great Awakening is here. Victory belongs to patriots. Where we go one, we go all. Pray for the children and troops. God bless America. God wins. Monday, March 23, 2026. Emergency protocol initiated. Trump and Space Force ready to activate EBS as Iran collapses, every phone and TV overridden. Shocking confessions and classified arrest footage set for release. Syria next in the military cleanse. EBS Donald Trump on Telegram. Patriots, the storm is here and it's biblical. Leaked intel straight from Cheyenne Mountain and Peterson Space Force Base confirms it. President Trump has greenlit the final phase. With Operation Epic Fury crushing the Iranian regime, Ayatollah Khamenei already taken out in precision CENTCOM strikes, the emergency broadcast system is locked and loaded for immediate activation. This isn't a drill. Space Force satellites are primed to seize total control. Every TV, radio, cell phone, and internet device worldwide will be overridden in one massive military takedown. No escape, no mainstream media spin, just raw truth blasting into every home. Trump signed Executive Order 2026 47 weeks ago, authorizing this nuclear-level override for national security. Triple authentication from Trump himself, General Dan Kane, and Space Force Commander General Chance Saltzman is all that's needed to flip the switch. The EBS will unleash pre-recorded bombshells exposing the globalist cabal's treason, dark financial trails leading straight to Soros, Rothschild banks, Gates Foundation bioweapon labs, and Vatican slush funds. Captured Iranian generals have already cracked under military tribunals, spilling everything on Assad's secret facilities and how deep state puppets funneled billions through Swiss accounts to fuel endless proxy wars. Iran falls in 4 weeks or less, Trump confirmed it himself. It'll take 4 weeks, or less, full lock-in now. The regime is crumbling fast, key figures eliminated, nuclear dreams obliterated. And Syria. It's next. Operation Silent Storm is staging right now. Delta Force and Marine units in Jordan ready to storm Damascus and wipe out Assad's Iranian-backed terror hubs. No more bioweapons, no more child trafficking networks hidden in underground bases. The White Hats have purged 23 flag officers, thwarted CIA sabotage plots, and seized assets to fund the whole reset. This is the Great Awakening in real time. The EBS will drop live arrest footage, forced confessions from high-level
This
traitors,
one, Kay.
and undeniable proof that the deep state planned to enslave humanity forever. Obama-era operatives like Evelyn Farkas, already tribunaled and gone. 7 CIA saboteurs arrested mid-plot. Quantum-resistant DARPA encryption ensures nothing stops the broadcast, not blackouts, not hacks, not even their last desperate EMP attempts. Quanons, hold the line, the military is in full control. The elites are panicking as their proxy empires collapse. Iran was just the start, Syria seals the Middle East cleanse. Then the floodgates open globally, EU terror financing exposed. Endless wars ended, trillions clawed back for the people. Trump pleads from Mar-a-Lago, Raven Rock switch flipped, mobile units in every state. The final reset is imminent, freedom, prosperity, and justice for all who fought in the shadows. The deep state thought they could hide forever. They were wrong. The storm has arrived, and it's taking no prisoners. WWG1. Stay vigilant, patriots, the broadcast changes everything. I'll save the children moan. March 23, 2026. Sonica Lucas was trained as a sex slave by David Rockefeller, and she was abused at 10 years old by Justin Trudeau's father, Pierre Trudeau. Their depravity is all starting to come out. White hats on Telegram. CIA mind control. Judy note, like much information about the mind control of children, many of the below links have been scrubbed from the internet. I left them in to let readers know they once existed. A mind control program called MKUltra was begun upon import of Nazi-trained mind control experts into the US, Canada and Australia. The Nazis helped design philosophy behind the creation of the CIA in 1954. The mind control program, funded by US tax dollars for the purpose of developing super spies and assassins, was highly tied into the world monetary system. George H.W. Bush was influential in forming of the CIA and their mind control program MKUltra. The November 13, 2010 New York Times reported that Dr. Joseph Mengele was among the Nazis given a safe haven in the U.S. through the CIA-sponsored Project Paperclip, a pre-runner to MKUltra. MKUltra was heavily involved in human experiments to torture children into multiple personalities through satanic ceremonies of pedophilia and child sacrifices. Global elites, including those in the banking system, were known to regularly hold the satanic child exploitation ceremonies for the purpose of gaining power and privilege. A Canadian mind control victim, now in her mid-60s, gave heart-wrenching details about child genocide during 2012 hearings at the International Common Law Court of Justice in Brussels. She discussed her eyewitness to murders of 7 other children during her 2-year childhood stint at Canadian Air Force Base known as Lincoln Park in Calgary, Alberta. She was a victim of a CIA-funded mind control program to develop super spies. The Brussels Court heard this and testimonies of 18 other witnesses to illegal activities of the Ninth Circle satanic child sacrifice cult. Children in the CIA mind control program claimed to be victimized by a former Nazi SS doctor referred to as Dr. Green. According to the survivor, the Nazi mind control expert and 3 Ninth Circle satanic child sacrifice cult members were working undercover as Canadian military personnel. http://www.veteranstoday.com/2014/04/13/Saturn eats his children http://lincolnparkmciltra.blogspot.com/. These human experiments on children were run at the base between 1956 and 1958. On her website, the witness gave tribute to children, like her, who were born into and raised in the CIA mind control program MKUltra. Children ages 2 to 10 were put to death, she said, due to the severity of injuries sustained during the course of human medical experiments. In both Canada and the US, several survivors of the CIA mind control program have identified Nazi mind control expert Joseph Mengele as their torturer. He was known by them as a Dr. Green or Greenbaum. Christine Nicola testified about a Dr. Green in 1995 congressional hearings on human radiation experiments. In this video, the mind control survivor said that beginning at the tender age of 4 she was terrorized by CIA operatives under the direction of Dr. Green. They were training her to be a spy and assassin by subjecting the child to radiation, drugs, electroshock, sexual abuse and mind control experiments. Dr. Green was able to split her young mind into multiple personalities. Dr. Green evidently tortured another witness of the 1995 hearings. Claudia Mullen stated in This video that she discovered documents where the U.S. government gave Dr. Green $50 million to run the program with the CIA Science Division, CIA Office of Research Development. Mullen said that from age 7 and near Dr. Green's office she was given electroshock, radiation, drugs, isolated in a tub of water, sexually abused, endured sleep deprivation, burns and all kinds of emotional and physical abuse. She claimed these atrocities were also performed on countless other children. Jenny Hill of Garden Grove, California also claimed to be a victim of Dr. Green's CIA mind control practices. The CIA claimed they closed MKUltra in 1964, yet Hill's torture programming by Dr. Green began a year later in 1965. According to her biography, 22 Faces, Hill was abused by Dr. Green and others in a satanic child sacrifice rite that took place on June 21, 1965 summer solstice. In this video Hill discussed her witness of another 6-year-old child's murder. The severe abuse caused a disintegration of her personality. In Australia, Fiona Barnett also claimed to be a victim of Nazi mind control programming that included human hunting parties where children were raped, hunted down and killed. And what we think we know is of twos. March 24, 2026 Monday, March 23, 2026 President Trump kept his word. ICE agents have begun deploying to airports nationwide this morning to help with security, as Democrats continue to keep DHS defunded and partially closed. Special Q force on Telegram moan. March 23, 2026 Gitmo awaits. Breaking, largest healthcare fraud in U.S. history. Operation Gold Rush exposes $14.6 billion medical scam. 324 doctors, nurses, and
should be almost over.
Executive charged in the largest healthcare fraud in U.S. history. Operation Gold Rush uncovers $14.6 billion in scams, mansions, crypto, and luxury stolen with your tax money. This isn't just corruption, it's organized medical betrayal. Monday, March 23, 2026 President Trump has given Elon Musk the green light to pay TSA workers while Democrats hold their paychecks hostage by refusing to reopen and fund DHS. Monday, March 23, 2026 Democrats were mad about money from USAID getting shut off because USAID was a Democrat global money laundering operation. A U.S. intelligence intercepted communication verified that a foreign power was discussing routing USAID money to Joe Biden's campaign in 2024. John Solomon on Telegram. Monday, March 23, 2026 President Trump has shared video evidence of Nancy Pelosi admitting she blocked 20,000 National Guard troops from being present on January 6, 2021. Monday, March 23, 2026 Senate Democrats just blocked legislation to ban men from competing in women's sports. Vote went down 49 to 41. They literally voted to keep biological males in girls' locker rooms, on girls' podiums, stealing scholarships and titles from female athletes. John F. Kennedy Jr. on Telegram. Monday, March 23, 2026 A Mexican man is going viral after choosing to self-deport in hopes of regaining legal status, only to be approved for permanent residency just 2 weeks later and reunited with his family. Monday, March 23, 2026 Fox News, Ilhan Omar caught trying to launder $1 million U.S. taxpayer dollars to a fake Somalian-owned substance abuse facility. The address is really a restaurant. Uncovered the other day in one of our spending bills making its way through Congress was a $1 million earmark from Representative Ilhan Omar of Minnesota, which was an earmark that was supposedly going to a substance abuse clinic, which actually happened to be housed in a restaurant and run by 3 individuals that share the same residential address according to their IRS paperwork. Tons of red flags. Monday, March 23, 2026 You have to see it to believe it. Every single location is a dump and a scam. This is why all these illegal migrants must be deported, especially if you are committing fraud that American citizens are literally paying for. This is nationwide and the reason our country is in massive debt and why Democrats are against deportation because they're all getting a cut of the fraud. Time to get serious about this and make a difference. The Schiff on Telegram moan. March 23, 2026, the Clinton Foundation unloaded FEMA's formaldehyde-contaminated trailers from Hurricane Katrina to the victims in Haiti. A total of $12 to $16 billion was raised for the victims in Haiti and new shelters were supposed to be built. Instead, to save money, and allegedly pocket the difference, they took the trailers that were contaminated with formaldehyde from FEMA from Hurricane Katrina and gave them to the schools and people in Haiti. They knew these trailers were contaminated and that these shelters were supposed to be new construction. The people of Haiti received less than 2.8% of the $14 billion raised for them, and a total of only 7 small huts were built out of billions of dollars. Jazara Nizura on Telegram Moan. March 23, 2026. RFK Jr. has exposed the Federal Reserve as a parasitic Ponzi scheme. RFK Jr., Fauci knew it would kill you. Kidney failure. It wasn't the virus. It was the remdesivir. Hospitals murdered for cash. $13,000 per COVID diagnosis. $39K per ventilator plus 20% bonus for remdesivir. Moan. March 23, 2026. Michael Jackson was a white hat all along. Raid files confirm that Trump smuggled the real Michael Jackson out in 2009, replaced him with a clone that the cabal tortured for rituals. Meanwhile, in underground bases, the real Michael Jackson trained special forces on healing frequencies that now power the med beds. His Neverland vaults held the original Q drops and JFK Jr. coordinates. The EBS will loop Michael Jackson's testimony. Obama tried to sacrifice me to Moloch. Trump saved me for this day. Monday, March 23, 2026. Hillary Clinton bankrolled the fake Steele dossier, which was cooked up by ex-MI6 agent Christopher Steele. Obama finalized it and his team weaponized it. Comey's FBI used it for illegal FISA spying. Brennan CIA and Clapper's DNI pushed the forged intel to frame Trump as Putin's puppet. A treasonous deep state plot to steal the election and destroy Trump's presidency. They fabricated it all to rig the game. The Obama administration must pay the price for the 2016 Russia collusion coup against President Trump. This is sedition and treason at the highest levels of government. No more games, it's go time. MAGA Pulse on Telegram Moan. March 23, 2026. Breaking shock. March 23, 2026. $3 trillion market whiplash as Trump-Iran narrative collides in real time. What just happened? Monday, March 23, 2026. Breaking medical alert. Oncologist warns mRNA vaccines linked to SV40 used to grow tumors. This is beyond belief. Monday, March 23, 2026. Breaking expose. RFK Jr. blasts vaccine cover-up. $200 billion motive behind ivermectin and hydroxychloroquine suppression revealed. The video Big Pharma tried to erase. Monday, March 23, 2026. Boom. Julian Assange confirms. Hillary Clinton's email to John Podesta claims Obama, Hillary Clinton, Saudi Arabia and Qatar founded Newswithzman. March 23, 2026. Breaking special report. Pizzagate is real. Hillary Clinton, Obama, Podesta emails, elephant eyes, and Comet Ping Pong Pizza. Monday, March 23, 2026. Breaking, explosive report. Venezuela list explodes. Maduro linked 60 U.S. senators to multi-million bribe allegations. So, Monday, March 23, 2026. Global signal anomalies reported worldwide. Tier 4 ISO 20022 on Telegram. Over the past 24 hours, thousands of independent users across multiple countries have begun reporting unusual disruptions across communication networks. Entire television channels have gone offline without explanation. Radio frequencies in several regions briefly cut out and then returned with distorted signals. Mobile networks in major cities experienced unexplained outages lasting anywhere from a few minutes to nearly an hour. Social media users are posting videos of broadcast interruptions, frozen news segments, and emergency signal tests appearing on local channels. None of the major media outlets are addressing it. At the same time, satellite traffic monitoring platforms have recorded an abnormal increase in Starlink routing activity. Several network analysts have confirmed that large portions of global data traffic are now being redirected through secure satellite nodes rather than traditional ground infrastructure. Power grid monitoring groups are also reporting small, synchronized fluctuations across multiple regional grids, not failures. Adjustments. These are not random events. Systems around the world appear to be transitioning into a controlled communications phase that many analysts had been quietly anticipating for months. Military communication channels remain active. Civilian broadcast infrastructure, however, is gradually being placed into standby. If you are seeing temporary signal interruptions, broadcast tests, or sudden outages, understand that you are not alone. Monday, March 23, 2026. Masonic Fortress crumbling. Australia. Colonel Ricardo Bossi reveals Australia One's epic stand as white hats crush global cabal in top-down assault. 2026 disclosures will ignite total awakening. Quantum Financial System on Telegram. Colonel Ricardo Bossi, retired Special Forces Lieutenant Colonel and Australia One Party leader, recently dropped major truth bombs exposing the Masonic takeover of Australia and the unstoppable White Hats global operation. Patriots are rising stronger than ever as the cabal crumbles. In 2025, over 2 million Aussies flooded Canberra in the biggest protest ever, galvanizing the nation against the pandemic tyranny. But Masons infiltrated from the start, turning the country into their fortress since founding days. They control all institutions, leaving just 2 million real patriots out of 27 million as the core force. Bossi's warriors push forward relentlessly like Spartans, ignoring fake leaders and building self-reliant communities. Australia's vast resources and Antarctica proximity made it the Rothschild-planned eternal base, but Trump and White Hats neutralized top bloodlines years ago. Top-down takedowns of Australian troops fighting in secret global battles, exposing satanic portals in hotspots like Iran. Using the colored hats model, Bossi clarified the awakening. White hats lead with Trump, blue hats fight actively. Green hats activate on evidence of crimes. The yellow and orange masses will surge awake during 2026 scare events revealing child horrors and Antarctica secrets. Red hats in Masonic cults panic as exposure hits. Trump's tippy-top comms fuel the fire while OPSEC holds. Israel falls last. Breaking Zionist illusions. Australia One prepares the people to seize power locally as God's plan unfolds. The Anglophone Alliance reunites triumphantly. Masonic filth trembles in defeat. Insiders confirm imminent portal disclosures and full Epstein truths will shatter the remaining sleepers into action, firing massive guilt and rage against the cabal. Bossi stresses self-reliance is key to holding sovereignty when the military hands power back. No more apathy, the real champions are ready, fakes exposed as traitors. The new earth rises now with patriots leading under divine light. The latest video will be shown earlier at the official website dailyblog.com. Sincere thanks to all our audience. To continue watching videos without ads, you can...
Okay, well, we made it. I'll try to play that one every other day, because that's a good video to play. So we got that one. We had 22-minute with Mel. We had 2 Billies today. Almost. Hopefully the News Force lady will come out with something soon. She hasn't been out yet. All right, guys. So about 2 tomorrow, unless something changes. 2, 3, just like the same. I'll try to keep it. But if anything comes up, any breaking news at any time, I'll be on. So, thanks, Mars, Pauline Eagle, Kay, Carol, Lucy, Tim, JJ, good to see you in here. So, God bless everybody. Love all. Please hit the like. Make sure everybody subs to the backup channels, please. Thank you. Stay safe, stay strong, eat the faith. Never give up. Signing off for another day of Intel. And I don't know what happened to all the messages are getting deleted. I wonder if YouTube's doing that. Yep, Samantha, Maria. Yep. We'll see you all. Have a good night, everybody. And playing it day by day. Hopefully something will break. Hey, Chico and Dude signing off.